Nepal's social security scheme turns 7, but low enrollment persists. Prime Minister Karki urges broader inclusion and investment. Nepal's Election Commission extends party registration deadline for the March 5 polls to November 30 as applications surge. Central Bank unveils a redesigned 100 rupee note highlighting updated national map. New notes enter circulation with 300 million pieces. At least 65 killed in a huge fire engulfing a high-rise public building in Hong Kong. Hundreds still unaccounted for. And Sudur Royals closer to the playoffs of Nepal Premier League after defeating Lumbini Lions by 7 wickets. Janakpur taking on Pokhara Avengers in the second match. I'm Sarah Sapsanamarai and this is NTV World Primetime News coming to you live from Kathmandu at 1900 hours Nepal time. Across the globe, it's 1:15 p.m. in London, 10:15 p.m. in Tokyo and just after midnight in Sydney. Now the news in detail. Nepal is marking 7 years since launching its contribution-based social security scheme, but participation remains strikingly low. Despite more than 13.9 million active workers, only 2.6 million have joined the fund, alongside a mere 22,000 employers. The scheme promises medical coverage, maternity benefits, accident and disability insurance, family support and old age security. Workers contribute 11%, employers 20%, yet officials say limited awareness continues to hold enrollment back. Kaviraj Adhikari, the fund's executive director, has said the government has now started enrolling local municipalities with over 114 already on board. So far, the fund has collected over 95 billion rupees and paid out more than 14.6 billion in retirement claims. Nepal introduced the scheme in 2018, hoping to strengthen social protection, but rebuilding trust between workers and employers remains essential for its success. Nepal's Prime Minister Sushila Karki has said social justice is impossible without social security, calling the country's contribution-based system a foundation for building a productive and equitable society. Speaking at the event marking the 8th Social Security Day, she said mandatory enrollment of the formal sector and legal protection for informal workers show the fund's growing importance. The government, she added, is now discussing ways to include contract employees and to invest the fund's capital domestically with fair and accountable returns. Prime Minister Karki urged the private sector to view social security not as a burden but as a national asset, ensuring worker protection while strengthening Nepal's economic future. Nepal is celebrating the day under the theme Universal Health, a Pensionable Society and Enhanced Productivity. Nepal's Home Minister Om Prakash Aryal has said the government has contained issues that could trigger a return to political conflict and is now moving quickly to prepare for the upcoming House of Representatives election. Briefing the National Assembly's Public Policy Committee, Aryal stressed the importance of strengthening the rule of law, saying dialogue is underway between political parties and youth groups to maintain stability. He said the government is committed to a free and peaceful election with progress made in recovering stolen weapons, managing fugitive inmates and rebuilding damaged police officers with community support. The minister added security agencies are closely monitoring ongoing protests and demonstrations across the country to ensure citizens can vote in a safe environment. Nepal's President Ramchandra Paul has authorized the deployment of the Nepal Army for the upcoming House of Representatives election that has been scheduled for March 5th. The approval follows a cabinet decision made earlier this month requesting military support to ensure a free, fair and fear-free electoral environment. A statement from the President's office says the deployment will reinforce national security arrangements alongside police forces as the country prepares for a crucial vote. Nepal's Election Commission has extended the deadline for political parties to register for the upcoming House of Representatives elections, now scheduled for March 5th. The 4-day extension pushes the deadline to 30 November, following requests from stakeholders and a surge in last-minute applications. Commission's spokesperson Naren Prasad Bhattarai has said registration is mandatory for participation and both major parties including Nepali Congress and CPN-UMO as well as emerging groups are filing applications. So far, 106 parties have registered specifically for the election out of 137 officially recognized nationwide. More than 25 additional parties have already submitted requests and are awaiting approval. The Commission had originally set the registration window to close on December 10. We'll go for a short break here. More news coming up. You're watching NTV World and this is Prime Time News. Nepal's Prime Minister Sushila Karki has significantly downsized her secretariat, removing 14 members and reducing the team to just 6. A statement from the Prime Minister's office says the move aligns with the newly amended administrative procedures aimed at promoting efficiency and financial discipline. Although the Secretariat is authorized to employ up to 66 staff, Karki had already limited it to 20 and now retains only key positions including the Chief Personal Secretary, Chief Advisor, Public Relations Advisor, Press Coordinator, a photographer and a public health expert. Officials say the remaining 6 are individuals who were previously appointed and the restructuring is intended to streamline operations as the government pushes for leaner governance. Now, in Nepal's historic Nuwakot district, reconstruction has formally begun on the iconic Taleju Bhavani temple and the 7-story Nuwakot palace, major heritage structures devastated by the 2015 Gorkha earthquake. Officials from the Department of Archaeology, led by Director General Saubhagya Pradhananga, performed a traditional Bhumi Chama Puja before launching ground-level restoration works. The original quake-damaged structures have now been removed, with the palace dismantled down to its 5th floor. The reconstruction carried out by the Chinese Academy of Cultural Heritage under a government agreement will restore both monuments to their authentic historic form. Local authorities say the long-delayed project is finally gaining momentum, with Bidur municipality providing water, electricity, storage facilities and road access for Chinese technical teams. The broader bilateral plan covers the rebuilding of 8 heritage sites in Nuwakot, with the first phase expected to be completed within a year. Authorities in Nepal are preparing to remove iron railings installed inside Pashupatinath Temple, a UNESCO World Heritage Site, after experts warned they were harming the sanctity and visual integrity of the shrine. The railings were originally placed to manage long queues of devotees, but the Pashupati Area Development Trust now says they will be replaced with wood and rope, materials more consistent with the temple's historic character. Acting Member Secretary Subhash Chandra Joshi confirmed the change following a directive from the Department of Archaeology. Senior official Sandeep Khanal has said the department has also asked for the removal of an iron overhead bridge, noting that metal structures inside the heritage zone violate conservation standards. In western Nepal's Dang district, students at Janata Primary School are forced to study in unsafe and aging classrooms due to a severe shortage of teachers, toilets and learning facilities. Classes for grades 6 and 7 are being held in an old damaged building where rainwater leaks through the roof and cracked walls pose daily risks. Students say they feel unsafe and the school lacks a playground, functioning toilets and adequate teaching staff. Despite producing excellent academic results since its establishment in 1990, the school has lagged behind due to its remote location and limited government attention. With 125 students and only 11 staff members, the shortage of sanctioned teachers has directly affected learning. A new building is under construction, but incomplete works have left the school still struggling for classroom space. Local authorities say a 4-room block is nearing completion and remaining tasks will be expedited. Parents and teachers warn that without proper infrastructure, children, despite their potential, continue to face barriers to safe and dignified education. In western Nepal's Palpa district, more than 24 villages remain completely cut off from basic communication services, a reminder of the country's deep digital divide. In the eastern region of the district, many regions still lack Nepal telecom coverage. Similar gaps persist in Mathagadi, where communities struggle without phone or internet access. In Tina rural municipality and villages like Kerabari and Chobis Mile, residents say they are forced to climb hills just to find a mobile signal. In western Palpa, settlements face frequent network failures due to non-functioning telecom towers. Locals say these persistent outages are affecting education, emergency services and daily communication. Farmers in western Nepal celebrate the traditional Nwagi festival, offering freshly harvested rice to nature. Performing local culture through dances, music and devotional singing are the celebrations. The festival revives an age-old tradition disrupted during the conflict, preserving indigenous art and harvest rituals. Regina Rai takes a closer look.
The people from Palpa of Nepal celebrated Nwagi festival with devotion, following the age-old tradition of offering newly harvested rice to nature before consuming it. The Nwagi festival, also known as Chonam in western Nepal, is a local tradition where villagers celebrate the new rice harvest by offering the first grains to deities at local temples. Local honoring Mother Earth, rivers and forest through their rituals are the significance of the celebration. Following the tradition, farmers and community members offer the first rice as a token of gratitude to nature for a bountiful harvest. This unique tradition in Nepal reaffirms the deep-rooted relations between humans and nature. The celebration includes traditional dances like Sorathi and Magari musical performances with Panche-baja, 5 musical instruments and devotional songs reflecting the spiritual and cultural richness of the region. Locals also say such festivals inspire younger generations to cherish and protect the natural world, keeping the spiritual traditions of Nepal alive.
Nepal's central bank has introduced a newly redesigned 100 rupee banknote featuring the country's updated map, including the extended western territories, along with a range of enhanced security features. The note retains its traditional size and color, but now carries Mount Everest on the left, a watermark of the national flower rhododendron on the right, and at the center, Nepal's revised map and the Ashoka pillar. For the visually impaired, the bank has added a tactile dot next to the pillar. Spokesperson Guru Prasad Podil has said 300 million pieces are entering circulation. The note also includes Maya Devi's portrait and a security thread that appears red when viewed straight and green when tilted, bearing the signature of former Governor Mahaprasad Adhikari. Nepal Rashtra Bank prints new notes roughly every 3 years. The last 100 rupee redesign was issued in 2019. We're going for a short break and we'll come back with updates from the international front. Do stay tuned. Dai Lake in Karnali province is a geographically remote district, yet rich with untapped potential for tourism. Stepping into Dai Lake, celebrated as a treasure trove of Khas art, culture and heritage, brings a unique sense of joy. Journey begins amid its natural beauty, leading us toward Mahabur Rural Municipality. As we leave the mid-hill highway, the terrain becomes challenging, with hilly, muddy roads demanding patience and skill. Long lines of vehicles crawl carefully along the cliffs, reflecting both the difficulty of the route and the enduring devotion of Mahabur Dham. Many travelers choose to continue on foot, advancing step by step toward their destination. At least 65 people have been killed in a huge fire engulfing a high-rise public housing complex in Hong Kong, with hundreds still unaccounted for. The blaze tore through 7 of 8 tower blocks in Tai Po district. Fires are under control in 4, and officials hope to quell those remaining by evening. Wang Fu Court is home to some 4,600 residents, according to latest figures. It is unclear how many were inside when the fire broke out. As the fires subside, questions are turning to how the blaze initially started and who should be held accountable. 3 construction company executives have been arrested on suspicion of manslaughter. The fire was previously classified a level 5 blaze, the most serious level in Hong Kong. Floods and landslides triggered by heavy rains killed at least 31 people across Sri Lanka this week, while 14 others missing, authorities have said. Most of the deaths occurred in the central tea-growing district of Badulla, where 16 people were buried alive when mountain slopes crashed onto their homes overnight. The remaining fatalities were reported. Nearly 400 homes were damaged in mudslides, with over 1,100 families moved to temporary shelters. The Disaster Management Committee said river levels were rising across Sri Lanka and warned residents in low-lying areas to move to higher ground. Sri Lanka is currently experiencing the northeast monsoon season, but rains have intensified due to a depression east of the island. Russian President Vladimir Putin has arrived at a meeting in Bishkek of the Collective Security Treaty Organization, CSTO, a Moscow-dominated post-Soviet mutual defense pact. The meeting is also attended by Belarusian leader Alexander Lukashenko, Kazakh President Kassym-Jomart Tokayev, and Tajik leader Emomali Rahmon, and is hosted by Kyrgyz President Sadir Japarov. CSTO member Armenia has been absent from the bloc's meeting since Azerbaijan's 2023 offensive in Nagorno-Karabakh, in which Moscow did not intervene to back Armenia, causing Yerevan to de facto suspend all participation. The Special Counsel team has sought a 15-year prison sentence for South Korea's former Prime Minister Han Duck-soo on charges of abetting insurrection. Han was tried in court on charges of aiding and abetting an insurrection. The Special Counsel team has requested the 15-year prison sentence. He, however, testified in court that he never supported the declaration of martial law. Citing a precedent from 45 years ago related to an insurrection case, the Special Counsel team has said excuses are unacceptable for someone who has heavy responsibilities. The investigators also said there are allegations of judicial obstruction, including the drafting of false official documents. Meanwhile, Han's legal defense team pleaded a prime minister has no constitutional or legal obligation to prevent the president from declaring martial law. Sports news up next. Do stay with us here on NTV World Primetime News. In India's tech capital Bengaluru, the morning rush hour lasts so long it devours half the workday, throttling productivity in a city often viewed as the poster child of a booming economy. Home to nearly 12 million people and the state capital of Karnataka, Bengaluru is the Silicon Valley of the world's fifth biggest economy, hosting thousands of startups, outsourcing firms and global tech giants from Google to Microsoft. Yet its flagship Outer Ring Road ORR business district, a roughly 20-kilometer corridor lined with swanky tech parks, dozens of Fortune 500 offices, and more than 1 million employees, is clogged with traffic, packed with potholes and often floods during the monsoon. Water shortages during the summer months is also common. Full-scale construction on the world's largest ice and snow theme park, Harbin Ice Snow World, started in Harbin, capital of northeast China's Heilongjiang province, on Tuesday. Work on the park, which is set to span a record 1.2 million square meters this winter, began 3 days earlier than last year. About 10,000 workers will use some 200,000 cubic meters of ice stored for over 10 months for building ice sculptures and buildings, as rivers have not yet fully frozen this winter. Ice cubes were transported in batches to the construction site. The meteorological forecasts of snow in the coming days will provide favorable low-temperature conditions for ice constructions. The park drew more than 3.56 million guests over its 68-day operation during last season, which ran from December 21st to 26th of February. Anticipating even more visitors this winter, the park plans to add new attractions, including hot spring camps, snow football, and other winter activities supported by upgraded smart tourism services. Now, Amazon has issued a major scam alert to millions of customers after a rise in fraudulent messages and fake account-related notifications targeting shoppers ahead of the busy holiday shopping period. In a statement, the company urged users to be vigilant against emails, texts and phone calls claiming to be from Amazon, warning that criminals are increasingly impersonating the retailer to steal personal information and payment details. Customers have reported receiving messages about locked accounts, payment failures and delivery problems, all designed to trick them into clicking malicious links. Amazon stressed that it never asks customers for sensitive information such as passwords or payment details via text or email, and encouraged anyone who receives a suspicious message to report it immediately through its official channels. The company added that it is working closely with authorities to track and shut down scam operations. Consumers are being advised to double-check the sender's address, avoid clicking unsolicited links, and verify account notifications by logging in directly through Amazon website or application. UK's Windsor Castle has unveiled its annual Christmas display, transforming the royal residence with towering trees, sparkling lights and festive decorations. A 20-foot Nordman Fear, grown in Windsor Great Park, now stands in St. George's Hall, while a second 16-foot tree adorns the Crimson Drawing Room. Even Queen Mary's doll's house has been given miniature seasonal touches. The decorations will be on public display from late November through early January, accompanied by special festive tours, family activities and seasonal treats in the Undercroft Cafe. Tesla has opened its largest sales and service hub in India, even as the EV giant struggles with weak sales in Asia's third largest economy. The center in the northern city of Gurugram combines an experience showroom, charging and after-sales services under one roof. The EV maker has sold just over 100 cars in India since its much-publicized debut in July this year, dealership data shows. The Elon Musk-owned EV maker has been struggling to get a foothold in India since its launch in July, receiving bookings for barely over 600 cars till mid-September. The EV maker's plan to improve sales is said to include a three-pronged strategy to increase adoption, install more charging stations across the country, and boost customer experience. Time now for a sports update. Sudur Pashchim Royals have moved closer to the playoffs of Nepal Premier League after beating Lumbini Lions by 7 wickets today. This is Sudur Pashchim's 4th win in a row. The club chased Lumbini's target of 144 runs in 18.2 overs, losing only 3 wickets in the day's first match held at the team cricket ground in Kirtipur. Openers Vinod Bhandari and Arif Sheikh partnered for 99 runs to secure the victory. Bhandari was named player of the match. Lumbini earlier went all out for 143 runs in 19.4 overs. Rohit Paudel contributed 35 and Dilip Nath 31. Deepinder Singh Airi's Sudur Pashchim now tops the points table with 8 points. Rohit Paudel's Lumbini has so far won only 1 of 4 matches and sits 6th with 2 points. Lumbini now needs to win, in fact, all their remaining games to reach the playoffs. Meanwhile, in another match of the league that ended just a while ago, Pokhara Avengers defeated Janakpur Bolts by 25 runs. Pokhara posted 155 runs for the loss of 6 wickets in 20 overs, setting a target of 156. Janakpur managed to score only 130 runs for the loss of 9, falling short despite late resistance. Now, with 7 consecutive wins under their belt at the start of the campaign, Liverpool seemed in prime position to put up a robust Premier League title defence and go deep in the Champions League. Now they are in the midst of their worst run in 71 years after a humiliating 4-1 defeat by PSV at Anfield. Nine defeats in 12 matches for the first time since the 1953-54 season, 3 consecutive losses in all competitions by a margin of 3 goals for the first time since December 1953, and 7 goals conceded in the space of 5 days at their normally fortress-like Merseyside home. The Dutch manager is under increasing pressure as he tries to find a solution to what has fast become a serious problem. It is said if Slot cannot spark a rapid turnaround, the questions surrounding his future will only grow louder. Before wrapping up, here's a look at the top stories once again. Nepal's social security scheme turns 7, but low enrollment persists. Prime Minister Karki urges broader inclusion and investment. Nepal's Election Commission extends party registration deadline for the March 5 polls to November 30 as applications surge. Nepal's central bank unveils a redesigned 100 rupee note highlighting updated national map. New notes enter circulation with 300 million pieces. At least 65 killed in a huge fire engulfing a high-rise public housing complex in Hong Kong, hundreds still unaccounted for. And Sudur Pashchim Royals closer to the playoffs of Nepal Premier League after defeating Lumbini Lions by 7 wickets. Pokhara Avengers beat Janakpur Bolts by 25 runs in the second match. And that is all from NTV World Primetime News for now. Our next bulletin will be at 10 p.m. bringing you the latest updates from Nepal and around the globe. Do join us through our social media pages and our official website, nepaltelevision.com. I'm Sarah Sapsanamarai. Thank you for joining us. Have a wonderful evening ahead.
Welcome to the studios of NTV World in Kathmandu. Public Service Broadcasting, PSB Nepal's new initiative to make Nepal more visible and audible to the global audience. Welcome on board.
This is NTV World, facts that speak, insights that matter.
Telling the stories of a changing planet. NTV World, Nepal's perspective to the world.
Exploring the heartbeat of Nepali creativity. This is NTV World.
The power of story shaped by technology. NTV World.
Unearthing Nepal's hidden heritage. Discovering the timeless Nepal.
Telling stories that endure across centuries. Where culture breathes, stories bloom.
When the world moves, we make a sense of it. NTV World.
Taste of Nepal. Every recipe, every flavor tells the story.
Journalism in the digital age. Fast, focused, verified.
Stories hold power. Stories reflecting life. Stories of the hinterlands.
Reporting for public service broadcasting.
Reporting for NTV World.
This is NTV World. Welcome to News Hour.
This is NTV World. Welcome to Primetime News.
One story at a time.
Crossing borders, connecting voices. Where Nepal meets the world in dialogue. This is NTV World, Nepal's perspective to the world.
Voices that connect Nepal to the world, bringing perspective, region and relevance to every story. NTV World, Nepal's perspective to the world.
Stand by. Mic is on.
3, 2, 1, cue.
We are NTV World.
dancing in the beats of Khaijari. These tireless young feet will not stop until the next morning. As every dawn brings along a dusk, and a hello has to end in a farewell note, it was time for us to say goodbye to Ramkot. The beat of the Madal and Khaijari constantly tried to hold us back even until we reached the faraway trails. It was hard to say goodbye when our heart wanted to stay, but then we had to move on.
private education and public education, we're clearly creating two different sorts of human resource. And then it ultimately culminates into sending two types of workforces as well. We're creating workforces, one for the Gulf nations that solely work to make a living, the other to the developed countries who either go there for education, higher education, or skilled jobs. Where are we lagging?
We are at in a world where I think you wouldn't be in a position to say that nationalize everything, government should run all the schools, and then so all the private schools are shut down, and that's how you're gonna create equality. I think we've heard those kind of political, social, economic voices also, but that has not translated into reality. So what is the workable solution in that case? It's only that we improve the quality of public schools. It's only through improving the public school system that you can sort of like bridge that gap. What do you need to do? There are a lot of things. Invest in infrastructure, like healthcare we talked about. We need to improve the infrastructure of education. We need to continue to provide support to educators. With this recent change of federalism, there has again been the gap created where the school teachers feel there's lack of support system now than it used to be in the past, which is very unfortunate.
Today we have a very special guest joining us all the way from the beautiful hills of Virginia. Tara Linhart, an award-winning musician who is known for blending Appalachian bluegrass with Nepali folk sounds. Tara has performed on some of the biggest stages in the US and has a deep connection with Nepal's music and art. And joining her is Prince Nepali, a talented sarangi player, music educator, and a generational musician continuing his family's rich musical legacy. Please welcome Tara Linhart and Prince Nepali. So when Appalachian bluegrass and Nepali folk music come together, what do you think it connects to the bigger world, and what is the core of this music?
Music is music, and notes are notes. And the Appalachian music and some of the Nepali music, it just has some of the same groove and same feel, and even very similar melodies,
right?
And also themes within the lyrics, and so they blend really well. And so I think it's hopefully it'll be more and more, but there should be a lot of cross-fertilization of ideas between the two musics, because they sound great. I mean, we play a Nepali song and then an Appalachian song, and it sounds similar, same.
And so you're saying that American folk instruments and Nepali folk instruments are somehow parallel to each other.
They work really well together. And the Nepali sarangi, we recorded it, a friend of mine, Danny Nicely, and I, we recorded a bunch of sarangi music many years ago, probably a little after 2000 or something. And we brought just the sarangi music without the bansuri and the model. And we brought it back to America, and we played it for some of the Appalachian style, like bluegrass in old time, we call it the paharakogit, from the Appalachians. We played it for the professional violin players. We call them fiddle players there. And we said, where do you think this person is from? What is this? And they said, well, it's definitely Appalachian fiddle playing. I almost know the song, but I don't know the song, so it must not be in my state. It must be in the next state over, because it's, I almost feel like I know it, but I don't. And then we said it's a sarangi and it's in Nepal, and they'd be like, you know, blew their minds because it's so similar.
So fiddle is from another, you're from Virginia, right?
Yes.
So fiddle is this instrument called fiddle from another state, or how does it work?
A violin, so in English, it's very funny, the history of English, we have two words from many things. We have the fancy sounding formal word, which is from French, like violin, and then we'll have a more basic, the people, common person word, which is usually from German. So the violin and the fiddle are the exact same thing.
Same thing, yeah.
But one is from German, and so that's like what the country people, you know, they'll want to call it the fiddle, and they'll just play it, and they'll like to have people dancing, and they'll be like they'll play it like this, right? And then if you have really good posture and your eyebrows are up, and you play it, then you might play the violin.
Okay.
So it's basically like the country music, you know, basically whenever you're traveling, you see the folk and the local thing, you know. It's not like I mean, you don't have a proper posture to it, you know, and then it's basically how the lifestyle is more about, you know, how you play The music is more about the lifestyle that you
and
find
for
in
fun,
people. And
like,
also for fun, mostly for the community music and everything. You know,
like
we gather up.
If you see, like, I spent a lot of time in some of the Gandharva villages, and when there's no audience and they're just them, they're playing because they want to play and they enjoy the music, and their kids are dancing and their kids are learning to play, growing up from a young age. And it's the same thing in the Appalachian Mountains, which is interesting because a lot of the city people in the United States have no idea about Appalachian culture in the United States, which is quite funny. If you ask a lot of people throughout the United States, especially from urban areas, but any place that's not in that little middle Appalachian zone, if there is Raksi, if there's moonshine, and they'll say, no, there used to be maybe 100 years ago. Doesn't exist now.
I think
However,
people around the world have this misconception that Americans, even us, like our generation, they don't have culture per se. But like the sarangi, we have our own community-based musical instruments, like the sarangi. The Tamangs have the tungna, the damfu.
Absolutely,
and we have the madal. So can you tell me
our
what
traditional
are
instruments?
instruments?
Yes. So yes, we have the mandolin. And each of these, because the United States is such an immigrant place, a lot of them were brought over. So mandolins were brought over, I think, by the Italians initially, because the Italians were very well known for making them. I think the guitar came from the Spanish coming over. The banjo came from Africa and was modified in the United States. This was also, the Italian mandolins had a big round back on them. But then the Americans, Orville Gibson actually figured out you could make it just concave like a violin or fiddle. So you have the basic, also upright bass is very common. So you have bass, guitar, mandolin, banjo, fiddle, which is violin. But yeah, so that, and people will just play on their porch the exact same way that like a Gandharva community would just play on their porch. They finished doing the farming, they play music for fun, and now, of course, with the evolution of post-industrialization, people are specializing.
Prince, what about the sarangi?
Sarangi is actually mostly played by the people here, called Gandharva. So Gandharva mostly came from the west actually, western part of Nepal mostly, and now they're all over Nepal actually, and I think Tara is actually has done a lot more work on Gandharva as well. So she's been like taking some documentaries from back then, you know, and yeah, I think the Gandharva people. So the king, like every ethnic group had their own jobs to do. So Gandharva people were given the musical thing where they used sarangi and their vocal. So back in the days when there was no means of communications like televisions and radios, so Gandharva people, they used to go around the village, you know, give the message to the people. So basically by storytelling or singing the song, you know.
Bringing the news.
Bringing the news, actually, and going from village to village. Talking about me, I'm the fourth generation in my family to play this instrument. So everybody in my family is like, we come from a Gandharva family, and everybody in my family played like sarangi or madal or somebody singing, you know. That's amazing part of it actually.
So Prince, how did you start playing the sarangi?
Sarangi, was always at home basically. So so I used to see like my father, and he's been playing music all his life.
Grandfather as well.
So yes. So yeah, Mangar Kansa Nepali is my great-grandfather, and Ramsaran Nepali is actually a very big singer. I mean, he traveled a lot.
And Ramsaran Nepali is a pioneer sarangi player of Nepal.
Yeah, he was a singer and a sarangi player. He traveled along with sarangi in many parts of the world. So yeah, and he kind of like introduced like the metal string for sarangi, and sarangi itself as a lead instrument, you know. So back in the days, the instrument used to be only like accompanying the vocal, you know. They used to play, but just the melodies that they used to sing, you know. And nowadays it has been used as a leading instrument where you kind of like do solos and many things, you know. And they have like different styles of playing, like many musicians in Pokhara or some, they have like different style of playing. And also in the eastern part of Nepal, there are lots of people who have like a different style of playing. And yeah, when I was very young, like I used to see my father playing all the time with he had like lots of different bands, and then he used to play in this band called Trikal, Sukarma, you know, and also was like traveling along with the instrument in many parts of the world. So whenever they were practicing, there used to be a sarangi just by the side, and I used to just go and pick it up, just, you know, noodle with something. I was like, I started really young when, like, I mean, he didn't force me to play anytime, but I was like so inspired by just looking at him, you know, how that music could change like the whole ambience there. So
it also brought him to different countries and different places. And one story that I know that his father had told me was that he was playing a concert in France, and so he asked, you know, everyone's like, you'll have to see the Louvre, the big museum there. And he said, I wonder if there's any Nepali music in here, can we find out? And they went and they looked, and it was his grandfather. Had been recorded as a child, and he was in the Louvre Museum, which is pretty.
Yeah, I listened to that music, and it was so amazing. That's what I'm like. What Tara told before was like the connection of like the style of playing, you know, in like most of the part of the world. When you listen to fiddle and sarangi, it sounds so close. You know, you cannot like recognize it's from Nepal or like from the US. You know, it just gets connected to you. I mean, in different forms. So. Yeah, and I started like when I was 7, just playing, you know, a few songs and just imitating my father, you know, how he used to play.
And then it became your passion.
And yeah, it became part of my life.
And your brother also is a musician?
Yes, my brother, he's a singer actually. He does play like a Nepali rhythm, like Madhul Dhime, but he's a very good singer. It's called Prijal Nepali. So he's done many commercial songs at the moment, and yeah.
My friend that I made the documentary, made a documentary called The Mountain Music Project, going back and forth between Virginia and our Pahar Gogit and mostly the Gandharva as focus. But he became a very gifted professional musician, and his father says the way that I got him to play music was I'd leave all the instruments out in the room, and I'd leave the house and I'd say, don't touch them. And they'd leave knowing that if you tell a kid not to touch the instruments,
that's true.
They're there, and they watch their parents having
so
fun
nice.
with it all the time. You know, that's, some people think, I'm going to make my children play, and they'll give them some classical lessons or something, and they have to sit, and they have to play for a certain amount of time. It makes the kids often get a bad taste in their mouth from it. But if you just demonstrate how fun it is, it's like a game you get to play, but you have to know how to play the game. Then all the kids want to play the game. They want to be involved.
Right.
And then also he got the extra thing where his dad was like, all right, don't touch that. And then as soon as his dad would leave, he'd look in and be like,
this is very amusing to me. Like, you all the way from Virginia, you as an undergraduate student, you were here in the 90s in Nepal.
Yes.
So how did that happen, and how did you meet his father?
Well, I have to say in the 90s, I did not get connected with the Gandharva community yet. I got connected with the Newari community. So I was here as a University of Wisconsin student, and I traveled with an environmental NGO called ECA around Nepal, which was very interesting. I studied tabla with Homnath Upadhyay, who I ended up meeting his son at a gig after we played together in America. And I also studied with Shambhuji Mishra. But I spent most of my studies in Bungamati studying wood carving. So I studied with Puniraj Tulador, which was quite an honor because he's a brilliant wood carver. And I lived with his family. And Shanta Tulador is now an amazingly good wood carver. And so is Purna Lakshmi, who's a female wood carver. And I believe one of the only full-time, like, really top-notch female wood carvers that I know of.
Bungamati is actually the capital of wood carving in Nepal, right? So you've not only experienced the music here, but also the other arts and architectures as well. So how were you interested in the wood carving?
How could you not be interested in wood carving? Like, I came to Nepal, I didn't know much about it, and I saw it, and I was like, oh, I have to do this.
Yeah,
I mean, it just blew me away, you know, seeing them working. And I was like, wow. Can I learn that? And luckily, the University of Wisconsin at that time had a program here which was very open-ended and pretty much let us study anything as long as we wrote a 100-page paper at the end. And so I ended up writing my paper just about Bungamati and anything I could find about it because I spent most of my time carving wood. And then at the end, I was like, oh, I have to write my paper. But
it sounds amazing, though.
It's an amazing opportunity, and I still am connected with them. And they're like family now because I've known them since they were little kids, and now they have kids, and their kids
So
are
this early connection in your life with Nepal's art and culture is what inspired you to do music.
I actually decided to become a professional musician when I was at Kopan doing a meditation retreat, and I was not meditating very well. I was not having empty mind. Instead, I would sometimes giggle, and I was thinking about what I really wanted in my life, and I decided I wanted to be a musician. And I was studying tabla at the time, and the more I got good at tabla, the more I wanted to play melody and rhythm again from strings, because I was a guitar player growing up. And then I decided I love to travel, and I love to be able to walk up the mountains and fly different places. So I realized a mandolin could do everything a guitar can do, but it's more travel size. And so I was sitting there pretending to be meditating on emptiness at Kopan, and I was actually thinking, yep, I'm going to buy a mandolin as soon as I get home. That's what I'm going to do. So my experience with a silent meditation retreat at Kopan for 2 weeks was I became a professional mandolin player.
Wow.
I don't think that's what they hope for everyone in meditation, but that was my result.
So moving to Prince, so you come from a very musical family, a family with a rich musical legacy. So how do you experiment and relate between something like this instrument right here, mandolin, and with someone lively as Tara? Like, how do you connect and balance between tradition and experimenting?
A very good question, actually. So for an artist like coming from a very folk, traditional playing background, so actually my family has been very inspiring in that part, where you basically kind of like experiment with so many things. And as I told, like my grandfather, he kind of like started with some back then, like sarangi strings used to be a gut string, like made from intestine, like sheep intestine strings, and slowly, like we nowadays, I think we like really use those strings, and then in few places we do, but and then it turned into a nylon string. People do play nylon string as well at the moment, and so we moved to a metal string, which is very easier to travel with and very reliable on terms of like doing big concerts, So as we have to like mostly travel, play with a different kind of music, I kind of like crafted my own style, where I kind of like want to jam with some other musicians, and I probably like got very inspired from my father, because he used to travel around and play with so many other musicians, So
all over
it
the
was
world,
all over the world. I mean, he was like, I got so inspired from him. So, and he used to sometimes jam with the mandolin, sometimes with the violin, and sometimes with some percussion. I saw so many musicians in my life where he kind of like connected to me, and then like.
And I think his family, all the members of his family have pioneered some of the new technology, and now it's taking off about, putting a pickup on an instrument, playing it with a standing up stand, playing with a strap, and the same thing with our traditional music in Appalachian, bluegrass and old time music. There will be the purists who will say, if you tune your sarangi different ways, or use how far can you take it with pedals where it's no longer a traditional instrument, there's no right or wrong answer.
We find so many common things, when you're hearing the fiddle tune, I find it's like, oh, I think I could play that in sarangi,
Right.
That could be so wonderful to play, and some melodies are very connecting, like that. So like few melodies that I was learning from it, like. Doesn't sound like Nepali song?
It sounds American folk music, right?
Okay, we can do like this is an American song, so you kind of feel like it's a Nepali song as well.
Right.
You have like very common thing that you can like hear, from the sounds of like. So I probably find it like you have like so many wonderful melodies that you can hear like and connect together. You know,
You both are musical educators as well.
Yes,
So
I do.
how are you trying to preserve these traditional musical instruments and folk music all together?
Well, I just love to teach. I love to inspire. So I will, often people will come to me and they may even say, I want to learn rock and roll, I want to learn. And I'll say, great, we'll get to that. But first, let's try some Irish tunes and some bluegrass tunes and maybe a Nepali tune. And so I introduce them to a buffet table, is what I think of it as, of like, you know, when you go to a buffet and it has different kinds of foods. And I say, why don't we play some gypsy jazz and we'll play some bluegrass and some old time and some Irish and some Nepali. And then you can taste the flavors. And 90% of the time, they taste some of these traditional flavors and they love it.
Yes.
And they want to play more. And I don't know about you, how would you go approach?
So I think first of all by playing, mostly inspiring people. So that's how I go first. Like first of all, I think I have to be like inspired just to play this instrument first of all, and then I can inspire other people as well.
It's not always the easiest way to make a living, music, but it's very fun.
I feel like everyone should
try it.
Try it.
Yeah.
Like just one musical instrument or go for singing.
I think, of course, I mean, if you're in Nepal and then also like any part of the world actually, you have like, I'm talking about Nepal, but you have like so many different instruments in Nepal that you can learn, and you can just like sarangi is one of them, and you have tungna, you have arbazo, you have madal, you have basuri, so many different instruments. And I think one of them should just give it a try, or just, you know, just as a hobby. I mean, it is like fantastic when you're playing music and trying to like play with other people as well, you know.
What would you like to tell the world about folk instruments and folk music? Do you want to share something to the world, and do you have a message to them?
Yeah. Play music and follow us, buy our CDs and listen to us on Spotify, of course, and you know, all of those things.
You have to say something?
iTunes, whatever.
Yeah, actually, same as Tara. You just listen, I mean, have fun, just pick up an instrument, play, you know. Just get one instrument, and then I think more of it is like we're trying to do some like part of having fun is one thing, but we also kind of like inspire people like just to pick up an instrument, you know, just to have fun with it actually. So yeah,
and even just follow your passions, even if it's not music. Perhaps your passion is drawing, painting, wood carving,
I mean,
any kind of pottery.
Those things that make.
Create something. Do something that brings you joy.
Joy, yeah, that's true.
Do something that brings you inspiration.
Yeah.
Okay, that is all for today, folks. Thank you for sharing your story and your sound with us, Prince and Tara. So it's amazing to see how music can connect worlds, from the Appalachian trails to the Himalayan hills. So thank you. See you next time.
Thank you so much for having us.
Thank you.
'cause I know there'll be no more tears in
Dr. Coloni, as chair of AIN, you've spoken about regulatory frameworks that risk constraining the civil society. What, in your view, is the ideal balance between accountability and freedom of NGOs in Nepal?
The civil society organizations are given freedom of association, freedom of expression, freedom of advocacy, freedom of contributing into the legal process or lawmaking process in the country. So all of that. But at the same time, have a space for their self-regulatory mechanism. But at the same time, the organizations are accountable towards their own process, whether it is about auditing system, delivering impact on the areas that they have selected to work in.
A city known for its legacy, Kirtipur, Locals also call it Kipu in their own dialect. It is the largest ancient settlement after Kathmandu, Lalitpur and Bhaktapur. The city still has an impressive Malla-era neighborhood. It is also home to Taudaha, the largest lake in the Kathmandu Valley. There are temples, monasteries, bihars, and stupas for both Hindu and Buddhist devotees, along with countless festivals and ritual celebrations that altogether give Kirtipur its distinct and special character. With its ancient Newar settlements, this place is a beautiful convergence of Newar culture and heritage. The 2nd century settlements here, the temples and the stupas, along with the legends and the faiths surrounding them, are fascinating. Situated beside the Kathmandu Valley, which once was a natural lake itself, Kirtipur developed as a flourishing hub of early settlement and culture. Because of this, the area is exceptionally valuable for historical and cultural study. A long time ago, the children of Kirtipur's farming families apparently made a clay tiger to play with while herding sheep and goats. To make the tiger look even more lifelike, they wanted to add a tongue. So they left their sheep and goats nearby and went into the forest to gather leaves. Upon returning, the children found their sheep and goats missing. And when they investigated, the clay tiger opened its blood-red mouth and claimed to have eaten the animals. Apparently, what had happened was that the deity Bhairav, a Hindu deity, had entered the clay tiger. In their anger, the children then cursed the clay tiger so that its mouth would remain perpetually open. This is the famous legend behind the Bagh Bhairav temple, as remembered by the residents of Kirtipur. Bagh Bhairav is the revered deity of Kirtipur's residents. Situated in Kirtipur, this temple is accompanied by several smaller temples, many of which can be traced back to the 2nd century according to the historical records. Among them are temples dedicated to Yamaleshwar, Narayan, Bhavani Shankar, Ramchandra, Manavinayak, Vishwakarma, Sridhar Vishnu and Mool Ganesh, all of which were constructed in the 2nd century as per many inscriptions. The historical records mention that the Bagh Bhairav temple, originally made by Shivadev, was again renovated in the 16th century by Jagatpal Varma into a 3-tiered pagoda style. This makes the temple a central attraction of Kirtipur. Most Newar settlements, which are one of Nepal's ethnic groups, are adorned with temples and stupas. So Kirtipur is home to countless temples and stupas as well, too many to count by hand. The Uma Maheshwar temple here is located at the highest point in Kirtipur. From here, one can take in panoramic views of the entire Kathmandu Valley. Swayambhu, an ancient Buddhist stupa, is clearly visible from this vantage point. It is said that the temple's elevation is roughly the same as that of Swayambhu's. On clear days, the world's highest peak, Mount Everest, can also be seen from here. Uma Maheshwar, representing the Hindu deities of Shiva and Parvati in another form, is considered a symbol of family happiness and love. The temple's tiered roofs, its design, the surrounding houses, and the views are not only beautiful but also reflect its historical significance. It is an excellent place to explore and spend an entire day. Kirtipur is special not only for Hindu devotees but also for Buddhists. Its stupas and bihars are ideal for the study, research, and promotion of Buddhism. The Chilancho Stupa, located atop the hill, is said by historians to have been built during Emperor Ashok's visit to Nepal. Its renovation, however, took place in the 16th century during the time of Jagatpal Varma. This site is ideal for prayer and meditation. It feels like Chilancho spreads wisdom along with its fluttering flags under the open sky. It is said that seeing the hills surrounding the Chilancho Stupa, Prithvinarayan Shaha, the 18th century king who unified Nepal, coveted Kirtipur. His attempts to capture Kirtipur, intended to make conquering Kathmandu, Bhaktapur and Patan easier, only succeeded on the third try.
Kirtipur को चाहिँ लोकेसन है अलिकति स्ट्रेटेजिकली एकदम महत्त्वपूर्ण लोकेसनमा छ हैन किनभने किर्तिपुर अब पृथ्वीनारायण शाहलाई पनि के लाग्यो भने किर्तिपुर यो डाँडाको मा छ डाँडामाथि छ डाँडामा चाहिँ एउटा त्यति बेला चाहिँ किल्लाको रूपमा पनि थियो हैन त्यो भएको नालले चाहिँ किर्तिपुर जित्यो भने अरु चाहिँ सजिलै जित्न सकिन्छ भन्ने खालको पृथ्वीनारायण शाहलाई पनि लागेको थियो हैन त्यसले गर्दाखेरि उले चाहिँ काठमाडौँ भ्यालीलाई काठमाडौँ यो जुन तीनवटा शहर र यो भ्यालीलाई आफ्नो कन्ट्रोलमा राख्न अगाडि सबभन्दा पहिला किर्तिपुरमा कन्ट्रोल लिन सक्यो भने यहाँबाट चाहिँ अनि चाहिँ अरुलाई अरु एरियामा चाहिँ सजिलैसँग कन्ट्रोलमा लिन सकिन्छ भन्ने हिसाबले चाहिँ उले चाहिँ यसलाई चाहिँ टार्गेट बनाएको हो एउटा कुरा त यो स्ट्रेटेजिकली उचाइमा परेको हुनाले र यसमा पनि यहाँको कोर बस्ती भनेको चाहिँ डाँडाबाट माथि आउनु पर्ने र त्यति बेला तपाईले सुन्न भए पनि होला किर्तिपुर चाहिँ पुरा गढ पड्खालले घेरिएको थियो त्यो घेरिएको हुनु र चाहिँ त्यहाँ चाहिँ 12 वटा ढोकाहरू चाहिँ थियो र 12 वटा ढोकाबाट मात्र प्रवेश गर्न सकिने त्यस्तो भएको हुनाले चाहिँ एउटा चाहिँ स्ट्रेटेजिकली एउटा चाहिँ यो कोटको रूपमा वा चाहिँ गढको रूपमा चाहिँ विकास भएको पाइन्छ फर्स्ट वारमा चाहिँ कालुपाँडे चाहिँ बर्ड भो कालुपाँडे मार्यो त्यसपछि चाहिँ के भनाइ छ भने किर्तिपुरहरूले चाहिँ कालुपाँडेको टाउको बोकेर हैन त्यहाँ चाहिँ जात्रा गरेको हामी जित्यौं भनेर जात्रा गर्यो भन्ने छ अब त्यो हिस्टोरिकली छ कतिको फ्याक्ट थाहा छैन त्यसले गरेर त्यो भनेको चाहिँ त्यो पनि अब त्यो रिस्क त छ नि पृथ्वीनारायण शाहलाई अनि अर्को के छ भने सेकेन्ड वारमा चाहिँ फेरि चाहिँ आफ्नै भाइको चाहिँ आँखा फुटिएको छ हैन त्यसरी दुई पल्ट चाहिँ उले चाहिँ एकदमै हार त्यो पनि हार पनि एकदमै हार मात्र हैन त्यो अब कालुपाँडेको टाउको बोकेर हैन पुरा खुसियालले मनाउनु भनेको त्यसले गरेको चाहिँ एकदमै त्यो ह्युमिलिएट भएको कारणले गर्दाखेरि पछि जब उ सत्तामा आयो भए चाहिँ जब उले कन्ट्रोलमा लियो उले चाहिँ बर्बर तरिकाले नै यो किटिपुरहरूलाई पनि दुःख दिनुपर्छ भनेर दुःख दिएकै हो.
This stupa houses the Pancha Buddha, the depiction of 5 knowledge of Buddha. Facing east is Akshobhya, mounted on an elephant and with earth-touching gestures. Facing south is Ratnasambhav, mounted on a horse and showing the Varad Mudra, which is a gesture of generosity and granting boons. Facing north is Amitabh, seated on a peacock in the meditation mudra, symbolizing infinite light and compassion. Facing west is Amogha, seated on a Garud with the Nag hood in Abhay Mudra, a gesture of fearlessness and protection. At the center sits Vairochan, mounted on a lion and invisible, imparting profound knowledge of Buddhism. The presence of these 5 Buddhas is believed to guide those who have lost their way, whether it is in spiritual seeking or in travel. The stupas, vajras, and stone statues here are enchanting, capable of captivating visitors for hours. In Panga of Kirtipur, there is a cremation site. The deceased of the Panga community are cremated here, but this place is different from others. According to local tradition, one cannot stay behind after setting the body on fire. Normally in other places in Hindu tradition, after the cremation, the ashes are collected after a process that can take up to hours. Here, however, bodies are covered with 9 pieces of wood for adults and 7 for children, along with water-soaked straw. Then the fire is lit before it is time to leave the site. This tradition is only for the people of Panga. Next to the burial ground stands the Vishnu Devi temple, one of the several Shakti Peeth or sacred power sites of the people of Kirtipur. The area is peaceful and known for its spiritual atmosphere. Kirtipur is not only famous for its monasteries and chaityas, it is also rich in history and culture. This place is known for its year-round festivals, rituals, and vibrant cultural way of life. Among the important festivals are the Satkaunle Jatra, Gai Jatra, Bagh Bhairav Jatra, and Indrayani Jatra. On the day of Gai Jatra, a special dance is performed here. The Dhya Dhya Papa dance, also called Katmar, is a ceremonial performance where dancers in unique costumes move to traditional music. It is an integral part of Kirtipur's cultural identity. Here, visitors can also find various hotels, homestays, and Newari restaurants. The Newari-style houses and pathways decorated with traditional materials are truly captivating, and the popular Newari restaurants, which draw people from all around, are plentiful. A beautiful example of Newari culture is Newari food, which include famous dishes like para, yumari, and samay bhaji. And visitors relish these dishes with great enjoyment.
अनि अरू भनेको यो सफुमिजा पनि विशेष मान्छेले रुचाउने समय बजी 12 विभिन्न मान्छे पछि फरक छ तर विशेष चाहिँ समय बजी सफुमिजा भेरे आउनुहुन्छ अनि छाङ रक्सी विशेष यहाँको गहना जस्तै नै नेवालानामा यहाँको छाङ रक्सी भनेको एकदमै ओरिजिनल हैन ओरिजिनालिटी भएर चाहिँ मान्छेहरू यहाँको खानामा या छाङ रक्सीमा पनि कुनै मिसावट नभएको चाहिँ प्रुफ भएर चाहिँ सबै मान्छे छाङ खानाको लागि पनि आउनुहुन्छ समय बजीमा अब 12 थरी छन् हैन त्यो पनि हाम्रो शरीरको अर्गानिकमा सबै ठाउँमा चाहिँ सबैमा चाहिने हामी यो विशेष हाम्रो चाहिँ एउटा चाहिँ के भनौं शुभ दिनमा चाहिँ हामी यो पूजा सजा गरेर समयबजी खाने चलन छ नि यो खाली पेटमा हैन त्यो भनेको एउटा राम्रो स्वास्थ्यको लागि एकदमै राम्रो समयबजी भयो अनि भोज चाहिँ हाम्रो एकदमै वैज्ञानिकता हैन अब एकदमै राम्रो तरिकाले चाहिँ नेवारी भोज चाहिँ खुवाउने गर्छौं हामी विशेष यहाँदेखि यो पाचन शक्तिलाई पनि एकदमै ध्यानमा राखेर चाहिँ यो पछि यो भनेर तातो चिसो मिलाएर चाहिँ अन्त्यसम्म चाहिँ खुवाउने चाहिँ एकदमै शरीरको लागि चाहिँ scientific proof नै छ क्या हाम्रो खानामा चाहिँ
Just before entering Kirtipur, you arrive at another beautiful spot, Taudaha. Known for its environmental, cultural, and religious significance, this pond stretches about 500 meters in length and 400 meters in width. It is said to be shaped like a funnel. Believed to be dwelling place of Karkotak Nag, a serpent king in Hindu-Buddhist mythology. This lake is closely linked to the legends of Manjushri, a Hindu-Buddhist mythological figure, and the Rato Machindranath Jatra. According to the folklore, when the Kathmandu Valley was still a lake, Manjushri cut open the hills to draw the water. The serpents living there were left without a home. So Bhimsen, a powerful heroic figure in Nepali folklore, created Taudaha to shelter them. The famous photo or vest displayed during the Rato Machindranath Jatra also traces its origins to Karkotak Nagraj and Taudaha. Legend says the vest belonged to Karkotak Nagraj, who gifted it to a farmer after the farmer cured his sick serpent queen.
हाम्रो भ्याली चाहिँ एउटा लेक थियो भन्ने चाहिँ छ अनि त्यो लेक हुँदाखेरि चाहिँ अब मञ्जुश्री चाहिँ आइपुग्नु भयो यो काठमाडौँ भ्यालीमा अनि उहाँले चाहिँ अब यहाँ चाहिँ तपाईको मानव बस्ती बसाउँछु भनेर एउटा सोच राख्नुभयो त्यो क्रममा चाहिँ तपाईको जुन एउटा भ्याली चाहिँ लेक थियो अनि त्यसपछि त्यहाँ तपाईको बीचमा एउटा कमलको फूल थियो अनि त्यसबाट चाहिँ स्वयम्भूनाथ चाहिँ स्थापना भयो भनेर चाहिँ हाम्रो त्यसलाई रिलेट गर्दाखेरि चाहिँ अनि तपाईको मञ्जुश्रीले चाहिँ यो ठाउँमा चाहिँ मानव बस्ती बसाउनको लागि तपाईको यो चोबार हाम्रो चोबारको गलछेडो चाहिँ काट्नु भयो अनि त्यसपछि त्यो कमलको फूल चाहिँ तपाईको स्वयम्भू भयो अनि त्यसपछि त्यो गलछेडोबाट चाहिँ तपाईको अब सबै पानी सँगसँगै पानीमा हुने सबै चीज बगेर जाने भयो अनि त्यो चाहिँ तपाईको नागहरू पनि त्यसमा पर्यो अनि नाग चाहिँ तपाईको त्यो नाग गएपछि चाहिँ अब यो पानी नपर्ने खडेरी लाग्ने तपाईको विभिन्न हिस्ट्री किम्वदन्ती अनुसार तपाईको अनि त्यो हुन्छ भनेर चाहिँ हाम्रो कर्कोटक नाग राजालाई चाहिँ तपाईको यहाँ ल्याएर चाहिँ मञ्जुश्रीले स्थापना गर्नुभयो भन्ने चाहिँ एउटा किम्वदन्ती छ मसिन्द्रनाथ चाहिँ तपाईको पानीको देवता भनेर पनि चिन्छौँ हामीले पानीको लागि चाहिँ मसिन्द्रनाथको पूजा गर्ने यो हाम्रो जात्रा गर्ने यो चाहिँ तपाईको त्योसँग भयो अनि प्लस तपाईको त्यो जुन मसिन्द्रनाथको तपाईको फोटो चाहिँ जुन फोटो चाहिँ त्यो जात्रामा देखाइन्छ त्यो फोटो पनि हाम्रो यहाँको नागले चाहिँ तपाईको दिनुभएको भन्ने चाहिँ एउटा किम्वदन्ती छ त्यो चाहिँ तपाईको यहाँको नागको चाहिँ तपाईको एउटा किसानले चाहिँ उपचार गरिदिनु भएको थियो आँखाको अनि त्यो उपचार गर्दैपछि चाहिँ त्यो चाहिँ तपाईको एउटा गिफ्ट यो फोटो चाहिँ तपाईलाई भनेर किसानलाई दिनुभएको थियो र त्यो किसान चाहिँ तपाईको काम गर्दा गर्दै खेतमा बारीमा एउटा काम गर्दा गर्दै तपाईको त्यो फोटो राखेर तपाईको काम गरिरहँदाखेरि चाहिँ एउटा भूतले चाहिँ तपाईको त्यो फोटो चोरेर लग्यो अरे अनि त्यसपछि त्यो भोटो चाहिँ तपाईको चोरेर लाँदाखेरि अनि फेरि त्यो खोज्दाखेरि अब कहीँ पत्ता लागेन अनि एक दिन चाहिँ यही जात्रामा तपाईको जात्रामा गइराख्दाखेरि चाहिँ तपाईको त्यो भोटो लगाएर आएको चाहिँ देखेर त्यो किसानले अनि मेरो भोटो भनेर त्यहाँ अब वार भयो भनौँ न अनि त्यसपछि त्यो भोटो चाहिँ अनि त्यसपछि त्यहाँ जस मछिन्द्रनाथले चाहिँ लिएर यो चाहिँ प्रमाण जसले ल्याउन सक्छ भोटोको मेरो हो भनेर उसैको हुन्छ यो भोटो भनेर चाहिँ तपाईको त्यो मछिन्द्रनाथको जात्रामा चाहिँ हाम्रो त्यो भोटो देखाउने चलन छ र त्यसलाई चाहिँ त्यसरी रिलेटेड छ यो चाहिँ हामीसँग
Taudaha is rich not only in religious and cultural significance but also in biodiversity. The area is home to 38 species of plants, 36 species of insects, and 116 types of birds. Swans gliding across the lake, birds perched in nearby trees, colorful fish swimming below, and small snakes seen occasionally along the banks. All of it make it easy to lose track of time while observing this vibrant ecosystem. In winter, birds migrate here from Siberia, Mongolia, and Tibet to escape the cold. Species such as lahari, kalihas, khoya, malak, and birds like great cormorant and Indian pond heron are also found here at Taudaha. These migratory birds travel thousands of kilometers from various countries to reach this lake. As a wetland area, Taudaha hosts water, land, vegetation, aquatic animals, amphibians, and other wildlife all in one place. For this reason, the lake attracts everyone from casual tourists to students conducting research.
स्वदेशी पर्यटकहरू चाहिँ महिनामा मैले भन्नुपर्दा एभरेजमा भन्छु हैन 10 देखि 15,000 सम्म आउनुहुन्छ विदेशी पर्यटकहरू पनि आउनुहुन्छ 500 देखि महिनामा 1000 सम्म आन्तरिक पर्यटकहरू आउनुहुन्छ अनि हाम्रो यो पुस माघ जुन जाडो सिजन हुन्छ नि त्यसमा चाहिँ बच्चाहरूको यो शैक्षिक भ्रमणमा आउने बच्चाहरू चाहिँ धेरै त्यो सिजनमा चाहिँ धेरै बच्चाहरू ल्याउनुहुन्छ अनि अघि पछि पनि हाम्रो शैक्षिक भ्रमणमा बच्चाहरू स्कुलबाट पनि आउनुहुन्छ अनि प्लस यो अब कलेजका विद्यार्थीहरू जुन इन्भाइरोमेन्ट साइन्स पढ्ने विद्यार्थीहरू हुन्छन् हैन त्यस्ताहरू पनि अब यो पानीको माछाको इनेरको पनि रिसर्च गर्न पनि विद्यार्थीहरू आउनुहुन्छ यहाँ नेपालीलाई चाहिँ पर पर्सन 30 रुपैयाँ छ विदेशीलाई 50 रुपैयाँ अनि हाम्रो जुन स्कुल कलेजबाट शैक्षिक भ्रमणमा आउनुहुन्छ नि उहाँहरूलाई चाहिँ हामीले 50% डिस्काउन्ट दिन्छौँ
As tourist numbers increase, so have vendors selling fish feed around Taudaha. These traders who stay around the lake from morning to evening occasionally also encounter snakes. But believing the snakes to represent Karkotak Nagraj, the traders drive them away by just burning incense.
बिहान 10 बजेतिर आउँछु अनि 5 बजेसम्म बस्छु अब कहिले 10 किलो निस्किदिन्छ कहिले 5 किलो कहिले अब यस्तै 1-2 किलो मात्रै जान्छ म बसेको चाहिँ भयो 14 वर्ष भयो अब पहिला भनेको व्यापार त्यति हुन्थेन अब अहिले भनेको जस बिहान बेलुका खानालाई चाहिँ पुग्छ दिनको कहिले 1200 नि हुन्छ कहिले 2200 नि हुन्छ कहिले 1-200 हुन्छ कहिले 20 रुपैयाँ मात्रै नि हुन्छ त्यो चाहिँ हुँदैन जस सँगाली राख्दाखेरि महिनामा 8-10 हजार चाहिँ हुन्छ परारको साल कताबाट सर्व आए देखिन मैले हैन पछि चाहिँ मेरो डडालामा आइपुग्या त्यो सर्व अनि म डडाइ मैले आँखा चिम्ली अनि सुल्ल आफै सर्व चाहिँ उता तलतिर गयो पोखरीतिरै
Just before reaching Taudaha, Chobar is a unique tourist spot in Kirtipur. Manjushri Park here is one of the popular picnic destinations. The cave, Chobar Gorge, Suspension Bridge, Jalvinayak Temple, and Adinath Lokeshwar Temple are all must-visit sites. This gorge is said to be where Manjushri cut the hills to drain water from the Kathmandu Valley. making it suitable for human settlement. Therefore, this place holds historical and mythological significance. Jalvinayak Temple is located along the Bagmati River. Among Kathmandu Valley's 4 main Ganesh temples, Surya Vinayak, Chandra Vinayak, and Ashok Vinayak, Jalvinayak is one of them. It is built in traditional pagoda style. Toran or archways, tudal or roof struts, and gajur or pinnacles enhance its architectural beauty. So this temple is significant both for religious faith and for historical and architectural value. Spread over 14.76 square kilometers, Kirtipur has many places to explore, which cannot be fully visited in a single day. Its heritage, lifestyle, and festivals are all unique. To guide tourists before visiting, a tourist information and service center has been established. It lies near the Kirtipur's entry point. This center provides information about major tourist attractions and helps make the visit easier. Exploring Kirtipur's historical, religious, cultural, and natural sites is incredibly enchanting. These sites are witnesses to history. For research and study, visiting Kirtipur is essential. The local lifestyle, daily life, the breeze, and the scent of the soil here, all of it are very special. In modern times, as ancient civilizations threaten to vanish, Kirtipur strives to maintain its ancient identity. Its monasteries, temples, chaityas, ponds, markets, and even the language reflect this heritage. Kirtipur is not just a tourist destination. It offers experiences of meditation and knowledge, and of peace and beauty. Its stories and hospitality attract everyone. To witness and feel the unique confluence of history, culture, and nature, visiting Kirtipur is a must, not just once, but again and again.
AI brings in a lot of augmentation and efficiency gains, which will not necessarily replace the human, but produce a lot more efficient human, almost like a superhuman, where the person will be able to do more jobs in less amount of time. And that efficiency gains could impact overall economic output, which could then generate a lot more new kind of jobs.
Will they be a misfit in the future?
More and more people should learn how to use some of these tools, because if you don't use it, I don't know if misfit is the word, but you will be left behind.
One year after a fragile ceasefire took hold, Lebanon finds itself balancing modest political progress with enduring economic and humanitarian turmoil. A severe financial crisis continues to grip the country, with inflation still among the highest in the world and key factors such as agriculture and tourism struggling to recover. Public services remain unreliable, thousands of buildings are damaged, and many families remain displaced, particularly in the south where cross-border tensions persist. The recent political shifts have brought some optimism. A new government led by President Joseph Aoun and Prime Minister Nawab Salam has begun rolling out reform proposals, while the country held its first municipal elections in nearly a decade. An IMF delegation visited Beirut earlier this year to explore the possibility of a support program, signaling cautious international engagement. Clashes along the southern border have slowed reconstruction efforts, and humanitarian agencies warn that millions still rely on aid for basic needs. As Lebanon enters another year of uncertainty, analysts say the coming months will be crucial in determining whether political reforms and international support can translate into tangible recovery or whether instability will continue to overshadow the country's fragile progress. At least 55 people have been killed in a huge fire engulfing a high-rise public housing complex in Hong Kong, with hundreds still unaccounted for. The blaze tore through 7 of 8 tower blocks in Tai Po districts. Fires are under control in 4, and officials hope to extinguish those remaining. Wong Fu Court is home to some 4,600 residents, according to the most recent census figures. It's unclear how many were inside when the fire broke out. As the fires subside, questions are turning to how the blaze initially started and who should be held accountable. 3 construction company executives have been arrested on suspicion of manslaughter. The death toll is now the highest in a Hong Kong fire since 1948, when 176 people were killed in a warehouse blaze. The latest fire has prompted comparisons to the Grenfell Tower inferno that killed 72 people in London in 2017. Indonesia, Jakarta has officially banned the trade, sale and consumption of dog meat, a move welcomed by animal rights activists but criticized by some locals who see it as a challenge to a tradition. The new regulation also covers other animals that transmit rabies, including cats, bats and monkeys. The city government cited public health and animal welfare as the main reasons for the ban. First-time offenders will receive warnings and seizure of animals or meat, while repeated violations could lead to business closures and license revocations. A 6-month grace period has been given before full enforcement begins. Animal rights groups praised the decision as a victory for animal welfare, while some consumers defended dog meat as traditional food with perceived benefits. The ban comes amid growing concern over rabies cases in Indonesia and is seen as a potential precedent for other regions considering similar measure. In Turkey's southeastern province of Mardin, where history is carved into every street, Midyat stone has played a defining role for centuries. Originating from massive mines in Midyat, a district of Mardin, this distinctive limestone gives life to the region's iconic mansions, mosques, and narrow stone-lined ways. Every wall and every doorway across Mardin bears a motif, not merely an ornament but also a cultural imprint. These patterns reflect a rich heritage, that ancient craftsmanship, the Ottoman era, and present-day artisanship. The journey of Midyat stone from mountain mines to the skilled hands of local stone carvers has continued for generations. One of the most remarkable features of Midyat stone is its ability to harden and change color when exposed to sunlight and air. Its natural insulation and durability have made it the backbone of Mardin's renowned stone houses. The World Robot Olympiad opened in Singapore, bringing together hundreds of international students, some as young as 8, to compete with robots designed to tackle real-world problems. The annual event, first held in Singapore in 2004, showcases how technology and science can improve everyday life through the creativity of young innovators. Organizers say this year's theme, The Future of Robots, has drawn a record number of participants. Singapore's Minister for Sustainability and the Environment, Grace Fu, said it drew almost 600 teams from over 90 countries.
The theme Future of Robots embodies the pioneering spirit of Singapore and here at Space Faculty, where we want to build opportunities for tomorrow, even if they may be challenges today. We see this potential everywhere, from robots shaping our future cities, AI-enabled robots to address climate change, machines driving the expansion of life across the universe. The possibilities are endless.
Vatican City has installed a towering 27-meter Christmas tree in St. Peter's Square, sourced from the Alpine municipalities in northern Italy. The tree was erected on 27 November, coinciding with Pope's first overseas trip to Turkey and Lebanon. Alongside the spruce, a life-size nativity scene donated by the province of Salerno has been set up, adding to the festive display. The tree and nativity scene will remain on view throughout Advent and Christmas, welcoming pilgrims and tourists from around the world. The Vatican emphasized that the tree's removal was carried out under careful forest management, highlighting sustainability alongside tradition. This annual custom, dating back to 1982, continues to blend faith, local culture, and holiday celebration. South Korea launched its largest satellite on its nationally developed space rocket early on Thursday, in the fourth of 6 launches planned through 2027. The 3-stage Nuri rocket lifted off from a spaceport on an island off the southwestern coastal county. Aerospace officials say the rocket placed a 516-kilogram science satellite and 12 microsatellites into a target orbit about 600 kilometers above the Earth. The Korea Aerospace Administration said the main satellite made contact with the South Korean ground station about 40 minutes after lift-off, confirming normal function and deployment of its solar panels. The satellite later established links with ground stations in South Korea's central Daejeon city. The annual Guangzhou International Light Festival, one of the world's major lighting events, illuminates the city's night sky with various iconic light art installations and highlights the vibrancy of Guangdong, Hong Kong, Macau, Greater Bay Area and the spirit of China's 15th National Games. For the first time, Guangzhou's landmarks, including the Canton Tower, the Guangzhou City Finance Center and the Guangzhou International Finance Center, synchronize a grand light show, creating a stunning visual centerpiece for the festival. The event features 36 light art installations across the city's new central axis and the Pearl River waterfront, where 22 buildings show dynamic displays of animation and projection. Meanwhile, the themed installation crown draws inspiration from the symbol of the highest honor in sports competitions. The dynamic upward-moving design not only embodies the sports spirit of athletes striving for excellence and forging glory, but also symbolizes the collective will of the people of the Greater Bay Area. The torch relay for the 2026 Milan Cortina Winter Olympics set off on Wednesday from Olympia, the Greek birthplace of the ancient games, with a rainy weather forecast forcing organizers to hold the sacred Olympic flame ceremony indoors. The relay began the countdown to the Winter Games, which will open on February the 6th. The flame will travel through 23 regional units across Greece over 9 days, covering more than 2,200 kilometers before reaching a stadium in Athens on December the 4th. This marks the start of its journey to Milan and Cortina, where athletes from around the world will compete. Greece, as the birthplace of the Olympics, will also lead the Parade of Nations at the opening ceremony.
When I talked about remittance, how we receive a huge chunk of it, but we're not being able to properly utilize it so that we could materialize it into something productive. How do you see this whole thing?
Do you think any person who is in Gulf country, earning money, sending money to this country, feels proud of sending that money here? Maybe he does, because he or she does, because they are able to take care of their families. But it could be converted into a sense where you say that your contribution has helped this country develop so much. We have created this infrastructure, we have created this development initiative. And so you take that ownership. And wherever you are, whichever part of the world you are in, whatever contribution you have made, if you feel like, oh, my contribution is actually, in fact, wherever I am, it is contributing towards development of my country, that would be much better. And so there can be some creative and innovative ways of utilizing that remittance and also proper communication of how it is being used to those people who are contributing is equally important, I think.
वादी नीलम जो है ये चिलाने से शुरू होता है तो भट तक, ये एक पूरे एक वादी है और इसको वादी नीलम कहते हैं। और हमारा गांव जो है ये दुबारियाँ शहरी ये हमारा गांव है और ये गांव तकरीबन यहाँ ये ऊपर और ये जगह भी उसी में शामिल है जिस जगह हम बैठे हुए हैं, ये भी दुबारियाँ शहरी में शामिल है। और हमारे गांव की आबादी तकरीबन जो है ये 250 घराना है, तकरीबन 3000 की आबादी पर मुश्तमिल ये गांव हमारा है। इस इलाके में जो है ये एक तो चश्मे है ज़्यादा उनका है, दूसरा फिर जंगलात है। जंगलात में ये हरे हरे दरख्त हैं जिसमें देवदार भी है, फर भी है, काइल भी है। ये सब्ज़ा ज़्यादा होता है और सब्ज़ा की वजह से फिर ऊंची ऊंची पहाड़ियाँ हैं, ये बहते हुए दरिया, इसकी वजह से इसके अंदर ज़्यादा खूबसूरती है। फिर बिलखुसूस यहाँ पर रत्ती गली जो है ये तो सब यहाँ मशहूर जगह है, बहुत खूबसूरत झील है वहाँ पर और ये पूरा इलाका बड़ा खूबसूरत इलाका है। पहले ज़माने में जब हम लोग छोटे छोटे थे ना, उस वक्त ये था कि यहाँ बिजली और दीगर चीज़ का कोई इंतज़ाम नहीं था। हम लोग ये क्या करते थे, छोटे छोटे जब स्कूल पढ़ते थे तो हम ये देवदार जो है दरख्त, इसकी वो लकड़ियाँ नीचे से निकालते थे छोटी छोटी, जिसको हम अपनी ज़ुबान में दिल्ली कहते हैं। कुछ अरसे बात हुआ है ये लालटेनें जो हैं ये आई और इसमें हम तेल लाते थे, वो तेल डाल कर बस थोड़ी देर के लिए जलाते थे ताकि तेल भी थोड़ा इस्तेमाल हो, इसलिए कि पसमानदा इलाका था, इधर इतने वो वसाइल नहीं थे, कमाई के दीगर मामलात नहीं थे जिसकी वजह से लोग ये चीज़ों को इस्तेमाल कर सकें। टीवी भी नहीं था, दीगर और ज़रूरियात भी नहीं थे, ये मोबाइल वगैरह ये कुछ भी नहीं था, तो जिसकी वजह से बिल्कुल ये था, ये समझ लें कि हम पत्थर के ज़माने में रहते थे। तो हमने सोचा यार हमारा गांव सबसे पीछे है, लिहाजा हम सोचेंगे यहाँ पर तरक्की होनी चाहिए, हमारे गांव के लोग आगे जाएं। लकड़ का ये टरबाइन बनाया और पहली लाइट जो है ये मस्जिद में जलाई, वो जब एक बल्ब जला उसकी रोशनी, तो हमें उम्मीद होगी कि हम ये काम कर सकते हैं। फिर हम अपने गाँव वालों के साथ मिले कि भाई आओ हम मिलकर मुश्तरका तौर पर इस काम को करते हैं। तो हम 2003 में पहली मरतबा जब हमने इस बिजली का जो इब्तदा किया है, 2 गाँव में हमने बिजली का इंतज़ाम कर लिया, तो अल्हम्दुलिल्लाह उसके बाद ये इंतज़ाम शुरू हुआ, जिसकी वजह से काफ़ी सारी तरक्की भी हुई गाँव में अंदर और बहाली भी आई। इस बिजली की वजह से हमारे जंगलात जो हैं ये थोड़े बहुत महफूज हो गए। फिर अच्छे तरीके से जो बच्चे तालीम हासिल नहीं कर सकते थे, जिनके पास वसाइल कुछ भी नहीं थे, अब वो बच्चे आकर अपनी तालीम, मसलन दिन को स्कूल जाते हैं दूर दराज, शाम को जब वापस आते हैं रात 11 बजे तक बैठ कर रोशनी का इंतज़ाम है, उसमें अपने स्कूल का वो जो सबक उस्तादों ने रात का काम होमवर्क घर का दिया होता है वो उसको कर लेते हैं, उसमें आसानी हो जाती है, ये दुश्वारी नहीं होती।
हमने अगर किसी को बुरे वक्त में छोड़ दिया, हमने अगर किसी का साथ नहीं दिया तो अल्लाह क्या है नाराज हो गया, अल्लाह ने हमारे लिए भी मुसीबत डाली।
तमाम शहरी कानून की नज़र में बराबर और कानूनी तहफ़्फ़ुज़ के मुसावी तौर पर हकदार है। जिन्स की बिना पर कोई इम्तियाज
उसके हवाले से फिर हम इसके लिए ग्रीन का इंतज़ाम करते हैं, इसके लिए बेल्ट का इंतज़ाम करते हैं और जो बंदा हमने मुलाज़म रखा है उसको खोलने बंद करने का, चलाने का, लाइनमैन बुलाने की करता है, जो उसमें अखराजात होते हैं, इसकी ज़रूरियात होती है। और जब आप लोग हमें नहीं, इसका हमने ऐसा अपना सिस्टम रखा हुआ है कि हम जो हमारे 3 गांव हैं यहाँ से ऊपर, उनमें हम महीने में एक मरतबा उनके साथ मीटिंग करते हैं, उन सब मेम्बरान को जमा करते हैं। एक कमेटी बनी हुई है, 6 रुकनी कमेटी है, तो उसमें बाकायदा एक सदर है, जनरल सेक्रेटरी वगैरह, ये सारा पूरा एक सेटअप है। तो जब हम बैठते हैं कि भाई अब इसको हम आगे इसके अंदर कोई बेल्ट की ज़रूरत है, ग्रीस की ज़रूरत है, दीगर जो भी ज़रूरियात हैं, तो उनके साथ हम बैठकर मीटिंग करते हैं। तो हमको जो चीज़ ज़रूरत पड़ती है कि अब इस पर इतने अखराजात हैं या इसकी नाली जो है वो टूट जाती है, उसके लिए ज़रूरियात पड़ती है, तो हम आपस में बैठकर कुछ पैसे जमा कर लेते हैं। तकरीबन 16 अगस्त 2022 को जब फ्लड आया तो उस फ्लड में ये सारा कुछ सिस्टम तबाह हो गया था। 2 जनरेटर हमने लगाए हुए थे, 15 kV का वहाँ पर था और 30 kV का इधर था। तो ये वो भी दोनों ख़त्म हो गए, उनका कुछ भी नहीं मिला। ये टर्बाइन थी, इसको तोड़ दिया था। ये पुली नई हमने मंगवाई, ये भी, ये नलके जो सब थे, ये नया सिस्टम हमने पूरा किया इसका। जब ये बिजली आ गई ना तो इसकी वजह से ये हुआ कि जो हमारे मुतल्लिकीन थे उन्होंने गेस्ट हाउस बनाए। जब गेस्ट हाउस बना दिए तो उनके अंदर ये हुआ कि जब ये टूरिज़म आते थे वहाँ पर उनको इंटरनेट और दीगर सहूलियात मैसर होती थी। जब बिजली होती है तो फिर वो सारी सहूलियात उनको मैसर हो जाती हैं। तो इससे ये हो गया खुशहाली होगी। फिर लोगों जब टूरिज़म आना शुरू हो गए तो लोगों ने अपनी जीपें ख़रीद ली, कुछ लोगों ने अपने घोड़े ले लिए। तो जीपों पर यहाँ से आगे रत्ती गली तक ले जाते हैं। 18 किलोमीटर का फासला जो है वहाँ पर लोग चले जाते हैं। वहाँ से आगे तकरीबन 2 किलोमीटर या 1.5 किलोमीटर है, वहाँ पर घोड़ों के ज़रिए से लोग ऊपर झील पर पहुँच जाते हैं। वहाँ पर रोज़गार मुहैया हो गया लोगों को।
तो इधर 15 साल पहले लाइट आई है, हाइडल पावर, तो इधर अपना हाइडल पावर बनाया। फिर पहले लाइट का बहुत ज़्यादा इशू था, लाइट नहीं थी, हाइडल पावर बने, मिल के सब लोगों ने काम किए, तो अब कोई मसला नहीं है लाइट का। टूरिस्ट वगैरह भी आते हैं तो आसानी से कमाई होती है। हमारे जो मर्द हजरात हैं वो उधर टूरिस्ट उधर होते हैं, गेस्ट हाउस पे होते हैं, तो उधर वो चला रहे हैं, तो घर पे हम खाना बना के ख़वातीन हजरात भेजती हैं उधर खाना, मिल के हम काम करते हैं सारे। तो गुजारा सही है, अच्छी तरह से गुजारे से भी सही है, अच्छा बनता है, सब कुछ निज़ाम सही चलता है।
तकरीबन 11 साल हो गए मुझे यहाँ टूरिज़म पे काम करते हुए। और जब हम इस वैली में आए थे 20 साल पहले फायर आया, जब हम इस वैली में आए थे तो उस वक्त कुछ भी नहीं था यहाँ। और ये हमने तकरीबन 2005 में ये वैली ओपन हुई थी और उसके बाद 2008 में ये बिल्डिंगें लीज़ पे गई हैं और 2012 में हमने इसको स्टार्ट लिया है। तो उसके बाद हमने काम करते करते माशाल्लाह अभी काफ़ी टूरिज़म भी बहुत ज़्यादा हो गया है। और उसके बाद अभी काफ़ी लोगों ने गेस्ट हाउस भी बना लिए हैं यहाँ पे।
हमारे इलाके में जब जगह कम हो जाती है गेस्ट हाउस में जगह नहीं होती तो फिर अपने घरों में भी जो कमरे इजाफी होते हैं उनमें इनको ठहरा देते हैं। जब वो आते हैं उनको देसी खाना हम लोग खिलाते हैं। जब वो लोग खाते हैं ये चीज़ें देसी, वो खुश होते हैं, तो वो अपने तौर पर तोहफे के तौर पर जो है उन लोगों के साथ जो भी अपने घर में रखते हैं वो ताउन कर लेते हैं।
गुरु गोरखनाथका तपोभूमि गोर्खा, उनकै अनुयायी कन्फट्टा जोगीको रूपमा चिनिने नाथहरूले नाद बजाउँदै कार्तिक र चैत महिनामा राति लगाउने फेरी परम्परा।
चैत र कार्तिकमा चाहिँ यो बजाइन्छ। यो बजाएपछि नाथ बजेपछि काल पनि भएको छ भने नाथ बजे काल भए काले गर्नेका दूर जाए भनेर हामीले फलाकिन्छ यसलाई। यो कृष्ण सागरको सिङ हो। अब यो चैत र कार्तिकमा बजाएपछि भूत पिचास मरी मसान सबै टाढा जाओस् भागोस् भनेर राति राति हामीले यो काम गरेर हिँडेको हो। काउना गुरुले ज्ञान दे काउना गुरुले कान फारे सता गुरुले ज्ञान दे अलखा गुरुले कान फारे। अब हामीले यो बाबाजी पालादेखि यो गोरखनाथको चेला बनेर कान चिरेर अब हिँडेको।
पृथ्वीनारायण शाहको सन्धि विग्रह कूटनैतिक सम्बन्धमा कनपट्टा जोगीहरूको अत्यन्त ठुलो महत्त्वपूर्ण स्थान छ। कौटल्यको शब्दमा भन्ने हो भने राज्य जोडिएको छिमेकी शत्रु हुन्छ, त्यसभन्दा टाढाको छिमेकी चाहिँ मित्र हुन्छ। त्यसैले पृथ्वीनारायण शाहको लागि अथवा गोर्खाको लागि भनौँ 24 राज्यहरू शत्रु हुन् भने 22 राज्यहरू मित्र हुन्। विशेष गरेर सल्यानमा, जहाँ सल्यानका राजकुमार रणबीर शाहलाई पृथ्वीनारायण शाहले आफ्नी एकमात्र पुत्री विलासपतिको पनि विक्रम सम्वत 1823 मा विवाह गराइदिए। ती भगवन्त नाथसँग पृथ्वीनारायण शाहले कूटनीतिक सम्बन्धको माध्यमबाट उनलाई अत्यन्त सम्मानित गरेर पृथ्वीनारायण शाहले लेखेका विषम 1830-31 का पत्रहरू छापिएका भन्छन्। त्यस्ता अरू पत्रहरू खोज्दै जाँदा होला पृथ्वीनारायण शाहले आफ्नो राज्य बढाउनेमा उनी धर्मप्राण पनि थिए। त्यसबाट प्रसाद गर्नेमा कूटनैतिक खेल्नेमा नाथयोगीहरूको अत्यन्त प्रयोग गरेको देखिन्छ र उनीहरूले पनि पृथ्वीनारायण शाहलाई मद्दत गरेका थिए भन्ने कुरा पृथ्वीनारायण शाहका नाति रणबहादुर शाहका पालाका पत्रहरूबाट पनि धेरै जात जातिलाई ती नाथयोगीहरूलाई जिम्मा दिएकोबाट बुझिन्छ र नेपालको एकीकरणमा यी नाथयोगीहरूको प्रभाव उनीहरूले दिएको योगदानको विषयमा छुट्टै एउटा राम्रो अध्ययन हुनुपर्छ भन्ने मलाई लाग्छ।
अब बिहानमा चाहिँ फेरि सब सिधाहरू बनाइदिनुहुन्छ। यो के अरे ग्रह शान्ति होस् भनेर हामीले त्यसको मन्त्र पढेर सबै हामीले यो हिँड्नुपर्छ बाबुआजीको पालादेखि नै यो अब गाउँ गाउँमा यसो भनौँ न अब औँसो बन्दा जस्तै गरेर बाउले यो बाटो लाउँथे यो बाटो बाउले लाउँथे भनेर 3-4 भयो भने 4 बटेर हिँड्नुहुन्थ्यो अब अहिले पनि त्यस्तै नै छ यो पहिले बाबुआजीले यतातिर हिँडेको भए म पनि अहिले यहाँतिर यो गोठातिर मैले हिँडिरहेको छु मैले कायाना कोठारी मघाभारी भाजा सातो नगरेका पनि सोधरे माको नाराज
Heaven above and angels below. This is the essence of Ruby Valley. Nestled in the northern part of Nepal's Dhading district, Ruby Valley is a hidden jewel surrounded on all sides by majestic mountain ranges. The landscape here is a feast for the eyes. White rhododendron blossoms paint the hillsides and sprawling rice fields shimmer under the sunlight. At about 300 kilometers from Kathmandu, the valley is a serene retreat, rich in culture, tradition, and natural beauty. Reaching Ruby Valley involves a remarkable trek that starts with a scenic journey from Kathmandu through Nuwakot and Rasuwa, winding towards the base of Ganesh Himal, the towering peak that watches over this land. The trek leads through dense pine and oak forests, terraced farmlands, and vibrant local villages like Tipling, home to the Tamang community. These people live in harmony with nature, cultivating crops and raising livestock while keeping their rich traditions alive, welcoming visitors with warm hospitality and cultural performances. The striking Pangsang Pass at 3,800 meters marks a stunning milestone on the route, offering panoramic views of the green-clad hills and distant Himalayan ranges. Below, forests of tall sal trees stand as silent guardians. As travelers traverse this landscape, they witness local women harvesting crops, hear the heartfelt songs sung by villagers in the fields, and feel the essence of a life deeply connected to the land.
Ruby Valley has made sure to preserve the Tamang culture and traditions till date. For instance, we all still wear the Tamang dress. It is our identity. This song has been in our community since ages. It tells us of our culture. It represents our tradition of marrying our cousins. Our parents focus on continuing the practice. I think I'll get married to my uncle's son too.
The daily sight of Ganesh Himal inspires awe and a sense of peace that visitors carry with them. Ruby Valley lies in the heart of the Himalayas, surrounded by some of Nepal's most famous mountain ranges, Manaslu, Annapurna, Langtang and Ganesh Himal itself.
I find this place amusing. I feel happy. People here are very kind and open-hearted. They are very friendly and welcoming. This place is like home to me, as I lived here for 1.5 years.
One can view Pangsang and Peldur Himal from here, along with Langtang and Manaslu Range. Ruby Valley is like heaven.
Just like its name, Ruby Valley, this place is Valley of Gems and Jewels. There are precious red, blue, black stones and crystals here. It's a fitting place for geological studies. There's a beautiful mountain range that one can view from here, including the Ganesh Himal, which gives so much light and joy to all Nepalese. The place is rich in animal and bird diversity and is home to different herbs. This is a perfect destination for both international and domestic tourists. Everyone should visit this place at least once in their life.
This place has a great potential. This road here connects Nepal with China, and it's also good for trekking. We have helicopter facility, phone and electricity supply. We have all facility that one needs. This is a must-visit destination for both domestic and international visitors.
Ruby Valley is home to different communities. There are as many languages, cultures, and religions as there are communities. Most people are farmers. They do agriculture and also rear livestock. Most take their yaks and sheep upward during monsoon. Up there, it's beautiful. One can find hundreds of different flowers, diverse birds and fauna there. Words are not enough to explain the beauty of Ruby Valley.
This place is a gem. It has precious resources and a great hydropower potential. There are many precious herbs as well. The beautiful mountains and historical sites make this place beautiful.
All my sons and daughters left. They're living their own lives, while we continue to live the way we did. It sounds fun living in the cities, but most don't have their own homes. It must be difficult living in rent. It's easier here. In city, you have to work hard to keep up.
This geographic embrace creates breathtaking scenery at every turn. Yak caravans and mule trains add a touch of timeless charm to the trekking experience, enhancing the rustic beauty of this remote land. The village of Chalis, nestled in the lap of Ganesh Himal, is a cultural crossroads for the Gurung community. Visitors witness their unique traditions, hear their folk songs by evening fires, and enjoy their vibrant dances, which invite travelers to connect on a deeper level. The journey continues beyond the villages to sacred sites like Tatopani Kunda, where natural hot springs offer spiritual purification and healing waters believed to renew body and soul. From there, hikers embark on a challenging yet rewarding trek to the holy Ganesh Kunda, a glacial pond named after Lord Ganesh. This pristine water body mirrors the majestic peaks around it, creating an ethereal panorama that captivates all those who visit.
Most Nepalese know very well that Ganesh Himal range is believed to be a place Hindu Lord Ganesh visits for rest and recreation. That is its speciality.
With peaks ascending over 7,400 meters, Ganesh Himal stands as a guardian of this sacred valley. Ruby Valley is more than a destination. It is an invitation to experience Nepal's untouched nature, vibrant cultures, and spiritual heritage all in one journey. For those seeking a unique adventure off the beaten path, Ruby Valley offers an unparalleled blend of breathtaking landscapes, warm hospitality, and rich traditions that make it one of Nepal's top destinations for international and domestic travelers. Dai Lake in Karnali province is a geographically remote district, yet rich with untapped potential for tourism. Stepping into Dai Lake, celebrated as a treasure trove of Khas art, culture and heritage, brings a unique sense of joy. Journey begins amid its natural beauty, leading us toward Mahabur Rural Municipality. As we leave the mid-hill highway, the terrain becomes challenging, with hilly, muddy roads demanding patience and skill. Long lines of vehicles crawl carefully along the cliffs, reflecting both the difficulty of the route and the enduring devotion of Mahabur Dham. Many travelers choose to continue on foot, advancing step by step toward their destination. Passing through Channa, Dasarathi, Okharbans, Bhavsaini, Noli and Unipata, pilgrims ascend the slopes toward Lisne before finally reaching Mahabur Patan. Pilgrims from Dai Lake and nearby districts often arrive late at night, having begun their journey the previous day. The path to Mahabur Dham is thrilling, adventurous and breathtaking, made even more dramatic by the steady rain, drifting fog and steep inclines. Yet the journey itself feels uniquely rewarding. Mahabur Lake or Mahabur Dham, located within Mahabur Rural Municipality, is a remarkable place of natural beauty, religious significance and cultural heritage. Situated at an altitude of 4,200 meters, the area is adorned with emerald lakes, grazing flocks of sheep and goats, and a sky that dances with Himalayan mist. Every year, during Janai Purnima, a grand fair is held here, drawing thousands of devotees from across the region. Mahabur Dham's spiritual importance is deeply rooted in the ancient worship of Lord Shiva, revered here as the origin site. From Mahabur Lake, visitors can enjoy magnificent views of Api and Saipal Himal, and on clear days, even the plains of Bardia. Given its religious importance and natural splendor, Mahabur Dham holds immense potential as a religious tourism destination. Improving the rough, narrow access roads is essential for supporting this growth. Mahabur Dham is more than a pilgrimage site. It is a confluence of culture, history, faith and nature. To truly appreciate its significance, one must visit Mahabur Lake at least once, immerse oneself in its natural beauty, and experience the serene environment that leaves a lasting impression.
Bhutan has been a fantastic trip so far.
People come here mainly for the main target species, and because birds are more easily seen.
Yungi khato ine training khandi gyamdi the auto chi jinsum de najimbale ta misel de name sam phento yoro shin.
In the valley nestled beneath the sky, where the snowy mountains reach high, the Sakteng Wildlife Sanctuary grows with life. The land of Yeti, as the people of Sakteng calls it, with tales and myths that flow through the unique culture of nomadic tribes in eastern Bhutan.
This part of Bhutan is the home to the Brokpa people, an ethnic minority of yak herders who migrated from southern Tibet in the 13th century.
The pastoral community was once home to a man with a dream. However, tragedy took place when the man was a victim of a fatal car accident. His death had a devastating effect on his family. His daughter, Ngawang Tenzom, had to give up on her education. Her mother, Lekidema, grieved and felt sad for the challenges she is facing.
Rango ke intention ya lumbegi isu nalham thosong dazi ne chige haptumidi nilam nalama ton tanoi ne chige haptumidi the same man.
Why do I care so much for this place? Why am I supposed to stay here? I don't know what exactly is waiting for me in this sanctuary. There must be a reason why I cannot bear to leave my village. I live in harmony with the land, a timeless rhythm so great, and my paths, although unknown, and a life without hindrance that I grew up. As I travel across this land, I see the beauty, the clean air, the majesty of nature so difficult to ignore.
Ni sa then lu khan gamdi sing moto da ke na thukina or pethong sing tene besing shupsing the moto da ke thubina le yu thar ko gi am me lakang yu shen the inji da chi thon prugus me the mi chetu ka or da me da ba tin the same shot the yu kang yu the inji da chi the os nom so khal da os chogina.
Sakteng is a wild haven where red pandas, Himalayan black bear, snow leopard, and musk deer hide in the forests. This is a land of myths and mysteries intertwined in perfect harmony.
And my zone is, and then as we go higher up, you're going to get the trogopans and monals and blood pheasants. So it's people come here mainly for the main target species, and because birds are more easily seen in Bhutan than other parts. So Bhutan has got more charm to looking at the birds out here.
Rising in the early hours, my heavenly dream fades with the rising sun. Descending the stairs of my happy homestay, a familiar scene reminds me the wealth of our local handlooms. In a closet, hidden away, lies my collection. Colorful and cheerful memories of costumes ready to play. Drawn by the sounds of music, I like to see a group of women dancing to the rhythm of old songs. It made me feel lost in the pace and movement of the dance. Getting back on track, singing and dancing really brings the sense of togetherness and love for the traditions in my community. While walking in the peaceful village of Sakteng, I could not help but feel a sense of reverence in the air. Residents spoke about sacred religious sites dotting the landscape.
Crops struggled to survive in the mountains. Now, with the introduction of greenhouse, fresh vegetables are taking flight to serve visitors to Ngawang Chensom's homestay.
Few local delicacies in the local alcohol.
By adapting to the challenges of climate change and finding new ways to grow food sustainably, she contributes to securing a bright future for her community and the planet. All is well in the village of Sakteng, but with a growing population and increasing number of shops, the pressure on waste management becomes a challenge. Ngawang's decision to stay at home reflects the value of the preservation of cultural heritage and natural resources. By promoting sustainable tourism, we can make tourism work for everyone and appeal to future generations.
This is my first time visiting any Asian country. I'm very impressed with the beauty of Bhutan, the landscapes, the mountains, the valleys. The people have been very friendly, and the weather's been nice for us. Everything's just been lovely here.
Although they bid farewell to this beautiful song, we could see their emotions that they do not express or hide. Here, everyone's eyes are sparkling and glowing with happiness. These people, their culture and their environment have touched Ngawang's heart that she will never forget to go back to her village with hopes and aspirations.
would be an ideal step-by-step thing that we could do to make sure all our financial activities of the government and everything is transparent and that we deal with corruption?
It is our collective responsibility, right? It is not going to be, when we say step by step, what may easily come to our mind is, okay, have policy in place, enforce it, right? Have maybe a stronger punishment mechanism, and that's going to work. Of course it will. Well, that needs to happen. But then there's more steps that we need to take if we really want to get into that.
Welcome to the studios of NTV World in Kathmandu, Public Service Broadcasting PSB Nepal's new initiative to make Nepal more visible and audible to the global audience. Welcome on board.
This is NTV World, facts that speak, insights that matter.
Telling the stories of a changing planet. NTV World, Nepal's perspective to the world.
Exploring the heartbeat of Nepali creativity. This is NTV World.
The power of story shaped by technology. NTV World.
Unearthing Nepal's hidden heritage. Discovering the timeless Nepal.
Telling stories that endure across centuries.
Where culture breathes, stories bloom.
When the world moves, we make a sense of it.
NTV World, taste of Nepal. Every recipe, every flavor tells the story.
Journalism in the digital age. Fast, focused, verified.
Stories hold power. Stories reflecting life. Stories of the hinterlands.
Reporting for Public Service Broadcasting.
Reporting for NTV World.
This is NTV World. Welcome to News Hour.
This is NTV World. Welcome to Primetime News.
One story at a time.
Crossing borders, connecting voices. Where Nepal meets the world in dialogue. This is NTV World, Nepal's perspective to the world.
Voices that connect Nepal to the world, bringing perspective, region and relevance to every story. NTV World, Nepal's perspective to the world.
Stand by. Mic is on.
3, 2, 1, cue.
We are NTV World.
AI brings in a lot of augmentation and efficiency gains, which will not necessarily replace the human, but produce a lot more efficient human, almost like a superhuman, where the person will be able to do more jobs in less amount of time. And that efficiency gains could impact overall economic output, which could then generate a lot more new kind of jobs.
Will they be a misfit in near future?
More and more people should learn how to use some of these tools, because if you don't use it, I don't know if misfit is the word, but you will be left behind.
Nepal's social security scheme turns 7, but low enrollment persists. Prime Minister Karki urges broader inclusion and investment. Nepal extends party registration deadline to November 30 ahead of March elections. President approves army deployment to boost election security. Nepal's central bank unveils a redesigned 100 rupee note highlighting updated national map. New notes enter circulation with 300 million pieces. Nepal embraces natural births as C-section rates stay low. Maternal and neonatal outcomes remain below global averages. At least 65 killed in a huge fire engulfing a high-rise public housing complex in Hong Kong. Hundreds still unaccounted for. And Pokhara Avengers defeats Janakpur Bolts by 25 runs at Nepal Premier League. Sudur Paschim inches closer to playoffs, defeating Lumbini Lions. I'm Sarah Sapsanamarai, and this is NTV World News Hour, coming to you live from Kathmandu at 2200 hours Nepal time. And now the news in detail. Nepal marks 7 years of its contribution-based social security scheme, but participation remains low. Out of more than 13.9 million active workers, only 2.6 million are enrolled, alongside just 22,000 employers, according to officials. Limited awareness continues to hinder enrollment, though over 140 local municipalities have now joined, according to Social Security Fund Executive Director Kabiraj Adhikari. At the 8th Social Security Day, Prime Minister Sushila Karki called the scheme a foundation for social justice, urging private sector participation and highlighting plans to include contract employees while investing the fund's capital responsibly. So far, the fund has collected over 95 billion rupees and paid out more than 14.6 billion in retirement claims. Nepal's Election Commission has extended the deadline for political parties to register for the upcoming House of Representatives elections set for March 5. The new deadline of November 30 comes after a surge in last-minute applications and requests from stakeholders. So far, 106 parties have registered, including major players like the Nepali Congress and CPNUML, while over 25 more await approval. The Commission reminds all parties that registration is mandatory to contest the elections. Meanwhile, President Ramchandra Paudel has approved the deployment of Nepal Army to support security for the vote, reinforcing police arrangements to ensure a free, fair and fear-free election. Nepal's central bank has introduced a newly redesigned 100 rupee banknote featuring the country's updated map, including the extended Western Territories, along with a range of enhanced security features. The note retains its traditional size and color, but now carries Mount Everest on the left, a watermark of the national flower, rhododendron, on the right, and at the center, Nepal's revised map and the Ashoka pillar. For the visually impaired, the bank has added a tactile dot next to the pillar. Spokesperson Guru Prasad Paudel has said 300 million pieces are entering circulation. The note also includes Maya Devi's portrait and a security thread that appears red when viewed straight and green when tilted, bearing the signature of former Governor Mahaprasad Adhikari. Nepal Rashtra Bank prints new notes roughly every 3 years. The last 100 rupee redesign was issued in 2019. Childbirth trends are evolving worldwide, but Nepal is bucking the old global pattern. While about 21% of babies are born via C-section globally, over 55% of deliveries at Nepal's Padopakar Maternity Hospital remain vaginal. Experts say natural births are preferred whenever safely possible, although C-sections are crucial for complicated cases. Nepal's C-section rate stands at 18%, with maternal and neonatal mortality below global averages. Hospitals are also expanding midwife counseling and safe birthing programs to support informed choices for mothers. At least 65 people have died and nearly 300 remain missing after a massive fire tore through a high-rise public housing complex in Hong Kong's Tai Po district. The blaze engulfed 7 of the 8 tower blocks at Wang Fu Court, home to around 4,600 residents and is now reported as basically under control by city officials. Authorities are investigating the cause with attention on the building's exterior mesh and plastic coverings, which were reportedly not fireproof. 3 construction company executives have been arrested on suspicion of manslaughter and a corruption probe has been launched. Our correspondent on the scene reports thick smoke still lingering over the towers. Questions are mounting over accountability and fire safety in high-density housing. Pokhara Avengers registered a 25-run victory over Janakpur Bulls in the Nepal Premier League match played in Kirtipur today. Batting first, Pokhara posted 155 for 6, anchored by a brilliant, unbeaten 50 runs off 29 balls by Sumit Verma, who was later declared player of the match. Dinesh Kharel added 38, while Trithiraj Das contributed 29 runs. In reply, Janakpur managed only 130 for 9 in their 20 overs. Despite a fighting 25 from Sanjay Krishnamurthy and 20 from Maz Sadakat, the chase fell short as Pokhara bowlers dominated. Bipin Khatri led the attack with 4 wickets, while Sumit Verma shone with the ball as well, picking up 2 crucial wickets. With this win, Pokhara strengthens its position in the tournament standings. Earlier in the day, Sudur Pashchim Royals defeated Lumbini Lions by 7 wickets, marking its 4th win in a row. Sudur Pashchim chased Lumbini's target of 144 runs in 18.2 overs, losing only 3 wickets in the day's first match, held at the TU Cricket Ground in Kirtipur. Seven years on, Nepal's social security scheme still struggles to reach millions of workers, despite offering crucial health and pension benefits. Stay tuned as we take a closer look at what the government is doing to change that in our Issue of the Day segment. You're watching NTV World. Welcome back to News Hour. 7 years have passed since the government of Nepal launched its contribution-based social security scheme with much fanfare. But despite the initial momentum, the program has yet to gain the expected traction among workers and employers. Official figures highlight the gap clearly. Nepal currently has an estimated 13.9 million active workforce, yet only about 2.65 million workers have enrolled in the Social Security Fund, SSF. Likewise, the number of registered employers stands at just 22,000. The Social Security Fund says low awareness of the scheme's benefits and procedures remains one of the major reasons behind the slow enrollment rate. Despite facilities, many workers and employers remain outside the scheme, often due to insufficient information or unfamiliarity with the enrollment process. According to Kabiraj Adhikari, Executive Director of the Social Security Fund, the government has recently started bringing several local bodies into the program as contributors. So far, 114 municipalities and rural municipalities have enrolled in the program. The fund reports that it has collected more than 95.68 billion Nepali rupees, which is roughly $669 million in contributions to date. It has already disbursed over 14.66 billion rupees, which is $103 million in various claims, including pension and benefit payments. Nepal introduced its contribution-based social security scheme on November 27, 2018. However, 7 years on, participation remains far below expectations, raising concerns about the long-term sustainability and reach of the program. Now, Prime Minister Sushila Karki has said social justice is incomplete without social security, describing Nepal's contribution-based system as a cornerstone for a productive society. The Prime Minister urged both formal and informal sector workers as well as the private sector to view the program not as a burden but as a source of protection and national pride. All government media outlets under Nepal's Ministry of Communications and Information Technology are now formally enrolled in the Social Security Fund, marking the first phase of coverage for public broadcasters. Minister Jagdish Kharel said the move will gradually extend to all ministry agencies as well as private and community media across the country. Now, from home deliveries to hospital births, Nepali women birthing practices are evolving. After the break, we take a closer look at how babies are being born across the country in our cover story of the day. Welcome back to NTV World News Hour. While caesarean deliveries are on the rise globally, Nepal is bucking the trend. At the country's leading maternity hospital, more than half of all births remain natural, highlighting a continued emphasis on vaginal delivery whenever safely possible. A report by Sabika Shrestha.
As not. Unlike in many Western countries where childbirth was once highly medicalized, Nepal still promotes vaginal birth than C-section. For generations, vaginal birth at home, guided by family or local helpers, was the norm. But with the improved hospital access, growing trust in medical professionals, and new ideas about safety and comfort, many families are now opting for hospital deliveries, and C-sections have become increasingly common. But still, the choice is upon the mother to choose C-section over natural.
Childbirth choices can have lasting impacts on both mother and baby. Today we sought to know from the members of the public how much did they rely on medical advice when deciding between a natural birth and a C-section. Here's what they had to say. Meanwhile, to better understand the rising trend of C-sections in Nepal and the factors influencing childbirth choices, we now speak with Dr. Shreyashi Aryal, who is Associate Professor of Obstetrics and Gynecology and hoping that she will walk us through the clinical, systemic and informational aspects shaping mothers' decision today. Dr. Aryal, welcome to NTV World News Hour.
Hello, namaste.
Dr. Aryal, Nepal's caesarean section rate has risen sharply in the past decade. From a clinical standpoint, which obstetric conditions most frequently warrant C-sections in here?
The trends in Nepal are similar to what is seen in other places as well, other places in Southeast Asia mainly. The most common factor is the previous caesarean section. So once the caesarean section rate is increased, the chances of caesarean section in the next pregnancy increases as well. So the most common cause is previous caesarean section. Second would be failed induction. We try to induce labor, but that does not work. Third would be fetal distress. So the baby has some problem and we need to do caesarean section for that. Besides that, common conditions include malpresentations like breech presentation or transverse lie. And besides that, there are other conditions associated maternal conditions like diabetes or hypertensive diseases in pregnancy, which leads to the need of caesarean section.
To what extent are system-level factors like maybe staffing, monitoring capacity and hospital preparedness influence decisions beyond medical necessity like those that you just mentioned?
Yes, it does make a difference. There's lack of resources. When there's lack of resources, when there's lack of workforce, the decision tends to go more towards caesarean section. For example, if there's no proper monitoring tool in labor, we need proper monitoring. We need every minute monitoring. And in periphery, the health services in the periphery, they don't have such facilities, monitoring facilities. So the healthcare providers do not take risk for the baby or the mother. So this does tend to incline towards caesarean section. And similarly, when there's more workload and less workforce, then again monitoring becomes a problem and caesarean rates tend to be high.
Now, globally, guidelines emphasize minimizing unnecessary interventions during labor. In Nepal's context, where facility resources vary drastically, what are the biggest gaps between evidence-based labor management, like maybe partograph use, induction protocols, fetal monitoring, and what is actually practiced on the ground?
The government has trained a good number of skilled birth attendants. So there is a tendency to follow protocols and follow evidence-based care. But yes, the gaps do exist, again, because of lack of workforce, because of lack of facilities, monitoring facilities. Those protocols cannot be followed in the ground. And again, medical decisions are never absolute. We have to take into consideration a lot of things. And this disparity, disparity between ground level work and evidence-based medicine is different. And what leads to this difference is the delay as well, because the patients themselves, there's delay in seeking care, the delay in reaching care, and when they come late to the facilities, then the protocol, the evidence-based management cannot be strictly followed. We have to taper the condition according to the individual needs. So that does make a difference.
Dr. Aryal, are Nepali women getting enough accurate and unbiased information to make informed decisions about natural birth versus elective C-sections?
Yes. Now, I would say definitely yes. The condition is improving now. Patients are more aware of pros and cons of both kinds of births, and they tend to ask. In the rural area, even if the husband is not there, in our context, most of the husbands are outside the country, but someone in the family do come in and they tend to ask if they want what kind of delivery are they expecting and what we are planning. We do have a shared decision, but still they do rely more on the doctor's decision rather than giving their informed consent. They do depend on the doctor's decision more in the rural area, whereas in the urban areas, educated women, they come with their partners, and we give them, we always, either it be a rural patient or an urban patient, we do give them full information and help them make the best choice for them.
Thank you very much for joining us here on NTV World News Hour.
Thank you for the opportunity.
Well, that was Dr. Shreyasi Aryal, Associate Professor of Obstetrics and Gynecology at Kathmandu Model College. Now, childbirth choices can have lasting impacts on both mother and the baby. Today, we sought to know from the members of the public how much did they rely on medical advice when deciding between natural birth and a C-section. Here's what they had to say.
मैले चाहिँ मेडिकल काउन्सिलिङ भन्नाले एएनसी भिजिट गरिरहेको थिएँ 8 टाइम्स हैन अनि त्यतिखेर चाहिँ अब मेरो हेर्दाखेरि चाहिँ नेचुरल नै हुन्छ भनेर भन्नुभयो किनभने हाइट पनि पुगेको थियो प्लस बेबीको वेट पनि त्यति धेरै थिएन मेरो पर्सपेक्टिभमा चाहिँ मलाई चाहिँ नेचुरल नै सजिलो लाग्यो सी सेक्सन भन्दा
मैले सकभर चाहिँ नर्मलै चुज गरेको थियो अनि सडनली त्यो बच्चाको पानी कम भएको कारणले गर्दा चाहिँ अनि नर्मल्ली हुँदैन अपरेसन गर्नुपर्छ भनेर चाहिँ अपरेसन गरेको मैले फर्स्ट बेबी चाहिँ अहिले पनि अब अवस्था कस्तो छ हैन त्यो अनुसार हुन्छ होला परामर्श लिनु भएको छ
So basically giving birth is a natural process, so many women prefer natural births like normal birth technique, but in case of any complication or any doctor prescriptions or any condition in which they cannot prefer vaginal birthing, they basically prefer C-section.
राम्रो त आई थिंक नेचुरल नै हुन्छ तर अब नेचुरलमा चाहिँ अलि बढी पीडा सहन अलि गाह्रो हुन्छ हैन अब होला नहोला भनेर अब सीएस गर्यो भने चाहिँ सजिलो हुन्छ भनेर चाहिँ गरे हो तर नेचुरल नै बेस्ट हुन्छ आई थिंक
उहाँले भने अनुसार चाहिँ राम्रो लाग्यो सकिन्छ जस्तो लाग्यो नर्मल गर्नलाई चाहिँ
As a third medical student, due to my experiences on the bedside postings in Ops Gynae, I feel like people are most reliable on medical advice before doing natural delivery or for C-section, and most of the patients nowadays are very much sincere to the doctor's advice and they do cesarean section, and most of the complications that lead to C-section is preeclampsia, hypertension. So yes, they are very reliable.
Regular visit गर्दाखेरि उहाँहरूले भन्नुहुन्थ्यो यो कन्डिसनमा चाहिँ हामी नर्मल डेलिभरी ट्राई गर्छौं यदि गर्दाखेरि औषधि चलाएर तपाईको प्रोग्रेस भएन भनेदेखि चाहिँ सीएस पनि हुन सक्छ त्यसको लागि पनि प्रिपेयर हुनु भनेर उहाँहरूले राम्रै काउन्सिलिङ गर्नुहुन्थ्यो
Moving on, Nepal's Election Commission has extended the deadline for political parties to register for the upcoming House of Representatives elections scheduled for 5th of March. The 4-day extension pushes the deadline to 30 November following requests from stakeholders and a surge in last-minute applications. Commission spokesperson Naren Prasad Bhattarai has said registration is mandatory for participation and both major parties, including Nepali Congress and CPNEMO, as well as emerging groups, are filling applications. So far, 106 parties have registered specifically for the election out of 137 officially recognized nationwide. More than 25 additional parties have already submitted requests and are awaiting approval. The Commission had originally set the registration window to close on 10th of December. Nepal's Home Minister Om Prakash Aryal has said the government has contained issues that could trigger a return to political conflict and is now moving quickly to prepare for the upcoming House of Representatives election. Briefing the National Assembly's Public Policy Committee, Aryal stressed the importance of strengthening the rule of law, saying dialogue is underway between political parties and youth groups to maintain stability. He said the government is committed to a free and peaceful election with progress made in recovering stolen weapons, managing fugitive inmates and rebuilding damaged police officers with community support. He added security agencies are closely monitoring ongoing protests and demonstrations across the country to ensure citizens can vote in a safe environment. Nepal's Prime Minister Sushila Karki has significantly downsized her secretariat, removing 14 members and reducing the team to just 6. A statement from the Prime Minister's office says the move aligns with newly amended administrative procedures aimed at promoting efficiency and financial discipline. Although the Secretariat is authorized to employ up to 66 staff, Karki had already limited it to 20 and now retains only key positions, including the Chief Personnel Secretary, Chief Advisor, Public Relations Advisor, Press Coordinator, a photographer level officer, and a public health expert. Officials say the remaining 6 are individuals who were previously appointed, and the restructuring is intended to streamline operations as the government pushes for leaner governance. In Nepal's historic Nuwakot district, reconstruction has formally begun on the iconic Taleju Bhavani temple and the 7-story Nuwakot palace, major heritage structures devastated by the 2015 Gorkha earthquake. Officials from the Department of Archaeology, led by Director General Saubhagya Pradhananga, performed a traditional Bhumi Chama Puja before launching ground-level restoration works. The original quake-damaged structures have now been removed, with the palace dismantled down to its 5th floor. The reconstruction carried out by the Chinese Academy of Cultural Heritage under a government agreement will restore both monuments to their authentic historic form. Local authorities say the long-delayed project is finally gaining momentum, with Bidur municipality providing water, electricity, storage facilities and road access for Chinese technical teams. The broader bilateral plan covers the rebuilding of 8 heritage sites in Nuwakot, with the first phase expected to be completed within a year. In western Nepal's Dang district, students at Janata Primary School are forced to study in unsafe and aging classrooms due to a severe shortage of teachers, toilets and learning facilities. Classes for grades 6 and 7 are being held in an old, damaged building where rainwater leaks through the roof and cracked walls pose daily risks. Students say they feel unsafe and the school lacks a playground, functioning toilets and adequate teaching staff. Despite producing excellent academic results since its establishment in 1990, the school has lagged behind due to its remote location and limited government attention. With 125 students and only 11 staff members, the shortage of sanctioned teachers has directly affected learning. A new building is under construction, but incomplete works have left the school still struggling for classroom space. Local authorities say a 4-room block is nearing completion and remaining tasks will be expedited. Parents and teachers warn that without proper infrastructure, children, despite their potential, continue to face barriers to safe and dignified education. Elsewhere in western Nepal's Palpa, more than 24 villages remain completely cut off from basic communication services, a reminder of the country's deep digital divide. In the eastern region of the district, many regions still lack Nepal telecom coverage. Similar gaps persist in Mathagari, where communities struggle without phone or internet access. In Tinau rural municipality and villages like Kerabari and Chobis Mile, residents say they are forced to climb hills just to find a mobile signal. In western Palpa, settlements face frequent network failures due to non-functioning telecom towers. Locals say these persistent outages are affecting education, emergency services and daily communication. Farmers in western Nepal celebrate the traditional Nwagi festival, offering freshly harvested rice to nature. Performing local culture through dances, music and devotional singing are the celebrations. The festival revives an age-old tradition disrupted during the conflict, preserving indigenous art and harvest rituals. Rojina Rai takes a closer look.
The people from Palpa of Nepal celebrated the Nwagi festival with devotion, following the age-old tradition of offering newly harvested rice to nature before consuming it. The Nwagi festival, also known as Chonam in western Nepal, is a local tradition where villagers celebrate the new rice harvest by offering the first grains to deities at local temples. Local honoring Mother Earth, rivers and forest through their rituals are the significance of the celebration. Following the tradition, farmers and community members offer the first rice as a token of gratitude to nature for a bountiful harvest. This unique tradition in Nepal reaffirms the deep-rooted relations between humans and nature. The celebration includes traditional dances like Sorathi and Magari musical performances with Panche Baja, 5 musical instruments and devotional songs reflecting the spiritual and cultural richness of the region. Locals also say such festivals inspire younger generations to cherish and protect the natural world, keeping the spiritual traditions of Nepal alive.
Now let's take a look at the headlines for this hour once again before the international updates. Nepal's social security scheme turns 7 but low enrollment persists. Prime Minister Karki urges broader inclusion and investment. Nepal extends party registration deadline to November 30 ahead of March elections. President approves army deployment to boost election security. Nepal's central bank unveils a redesigned 100 rupee note highlighting updated national map. New notes enter circulation with 300 million pieces. Nepal embraces natural births as C-section rates stay low. Maternal and neonatal outcomes remain below global averages. At least 65 killed in a huge fire engulfing a high-rise public housing complex in Hong Kong. Hundreds still unaccounted for. And Pokhara Avengers defeats Chanakpur Bulls by 25 runs at Nepal Premier League. Sudan Pashchim inches closer to playoffs, defeating Lumbini Lions. Floods and landslides triggered by heavy rains killed at least 31 people across Sri Lanka this week, with 14 others missing. Most of the deaths occurred in the central tea-growing district of Badulla, where 16 people were buried alive when mountain slopes crashed onto their homes overnight. The remaining fatalities were reported nearby. 400 homes were damaged in mudslides, with over 1,100 families moved to temporary shelters. The Disaster Management Committee said river levels were rising across Sri Lanka and warned residents in low-lying areas to move to higher ground. Sri Lanka is currently experiencing the northeast monsoon season, but rains have intensified due to a depression east of the island. Russian President Vladimir Putin has arrived at a meeting in Bishkek of the Collective Security Treaty Organization, CSTO, a Moscow-dominated post-Soviet mutual defense pact. The meeting is also attended by Belarusian leader Alexander Lukashenko, Kazakh President Kassym-Jomart Tokayev, and Tajik leader Emomali Rahmon. It is hosted by Kyrgyz President Sadir Japarov. CSTO member Armenia has been absent from the bloc's meetings since Azerbaijan's 2023 offensive on Nagorno-Karabakh, in which Moscow did not intervene to back Armenia, causing Yerevan to de facto suspend all participation. The Special Counsel team has sought a 15-year prison sentence for South Korea's former Prime Minister Han Duck-soo on charges of abetting insurrection. Han, however, testified in court that he never supported the declaration of martial law. Citing a precedent from 45 years ago related to an insurrection case, the Special Counsel team said excuses are unacceptable for someone who has heavy responsibilities. The investigators also said there are allegations of judicial obstruction, including drafting of false documents. Meanwhile, Han's legal defense team pleaded a prime minister has no constitutional or legal obligation to prevent the president from declaring martial law. Moving on, in India's tech capital, Bengaluru, the morning rush hour has stretched so long that it now consumes nearly half the workday, severely affecting productivity in a city seen as a symbol of the country's booming economy. Home to almost 12 million people, Bengaluru is the state capital of Karnataka and widely known as the Silicon Valley of the world's 5th largest economy. It hosts thousands of startups, major outsourcing companies and global tech giants including Google and Microsoft. But its showcase Outer Ring Road Business Corridor, a 20-kilometer stretch packed with high-end tech parks and Fortune 500 offices, employing more than 1 million people, remains choked with traffic, riddled with potholes and prone to flooding during monsoon. And when it's not waterlogged, the city often grapples with severe water shortages during the summer months. Amazon has issued a major scam alert to millions of customers after a rise in fraudulent messages and fake account-related notifications targeting shoppers ahead of the busy holiday shopping period. In a statement, the company urged users to be vigilant against emails, texts and phone calls claiming to be from Amazon, warning that criminals are increasingly impersonating the retailer to steal personal information and payment details. Customers have reported receiving messages about locked accounts, payment failures and delivery problems, all designed to trick them into clicking malicious links. Amazon stressed that it never asks customers for sensitive information such as passwords or payment details via text or email, and encouraged anyone who receives a suspicious message to report it immediately through its official channels. We'll take another break here, moving into updates from business and sports arena.
Nepal's central bank, Nepal Rashtra Bank, has brought a new 100 rupee banknote into circulation starting November 27, Thursday. The new note retains the same size and color as before, but has some updated features. On the left side of the new note is an image of Mount Everest, and on the right side is a watermark of the rhododendron, Nepal's national flower. In the middle, there is a depiction of Nepal's map and the Ashoka pillar, which was established by Emperor Ashoka of the Maurya Empire in 3rd century BCE. A tactile black dot has been placed next to the Ashoka pillar so that visually impaired individuals can identify the note by touch. According to the Nepal Rashtra Bank, 300 million pieces of the new 100 rupee note will enter the market. The note bears the signature of the then Governor Mahaprasad Adhikari. Rashtra Bank prints new notes every 3 years. The previous edition of the 100 rupee note was released in 2019. British Chancellor Rachel Reeves announced the latest budget on Wednesday, setting out sweeping tax hikes which are projected to raise £26.1 billion or $34.4 billion for the public purse by 2030.
Today's budget builds on the choices that we have made since July last year. To cut NHS waiting lists, to cut the cost of living, and to cut debt and borrowing. No doubt we will face opposition again, but I have yet to see a credible or a fairer alternative plan for working people.
Chancellor Reeves acknowledged that the tax rises would adversely affect working people. These taxes are to be paid in large part by freezing existing income tax thresholds, meaning more people will pay higher tax as their incomes rise with inflation. This breaks a key pledge the UK's governing Labour Party made in its manifesto before last year's general election. However, Reeves said the tax rises would help pay for nearly £22 billion or $28.9 billion in fiscal headroom within 5 years. Reeves also said government borrowing would fall each year. UK's borrowing is expected to fall over the next few years with £138.3 billion or $183 billion in 2025 to 2026 to £67.2 billion or $88.9 billion by 2031. Tesla has opened its largest sales and service hub in India, even as the EV giant struggles with weak sales in the Asia's third largest economy. Tesla has sold just over 100 cars in India since its much publicized debut in July this year, according to the dealership data. Tesla has been struggling to get a foothold in India since its launch in July, receiving bookings for barely over 600 cars till mid-September, according to the media reports. Tesla's plan to improve sales is set to include a three-pronged strategy to increase adoption, install more charging stations across the country, and boost customer experience. Experts say that high taxes and slow adoption remain major barriers to EV growth in India. Chinese regulators have barred TikTok owner ByteDance from deploying NVIDIA chips in new data centers. The tech publication The Information first reported the development on Wednesday, citing two company employees. ByteDance bought more NVIDIA chips than any other Chinese firm in 2025, as it raced to secure computing power for its billion-plus users, amid concerns the United States could curb supply, according to the report. The reported ban underscores Beijing's efforts to reduce reliance on U.S. technology, a campaign that has intensified as Washington tightens curbs on exports of advanced semiconductors to China. China is accelerating plans to build an alternative AI ecosystem and achieve chip self-sufficiency, even as trade tensions with Washington remain in a fragile pause.
Time now for sports update. Pokhara Avengers clinched a convincing 25-run victory over Janakpur Bulls in the Nepal Premier League match played in Kirtipur today. Batting first, Pokhara posted 155 for 6, powered by a superb unbeaten 50 off 29 balls from Sumit Verma, who was later named player of the match. Dinesh Kharelu added 38 runs, while Tritaraj Das chipped in with 29. Chasing 156, Janakpur Bulls were restricted to 130 for 9. Sanjay Krishnamurthy's 25 and Maj Sadakat's 20 offered brief resistance, but the team struggled against disciplined bowling. Bipin Khatri took 4 wickets and Sumit Verma impressed with the ball as well, grabbing 2 wickets. With this win, Pokhara strengthens its campaign and boosts momentum heading into upcoming fixtures. Earlier in the day, Sudur Pashchim Royals made sure to move closer to the playoffs of the league after beating Lumbini Lions by 7 wickets. This is Sudur Pashchim's 4th win in a row. The club chased Lumbini's target of 144 runs in 18.2 overs, losing only 3 wickets in the day's first match held at TU Cricket Ground in Kirtipur. Openers Vinod Bhandari and Arif Sheikh partnered for 99 runs to secure the victory. Vinod Bhandari was named player of the match. Lumbini earlier went out for all out, in fact, for 143 runs in 19.4 overs. Rohit Bodal contributed 35 and Dilip Nath 31. Deependra Singh Airi's Sudur Pashchim now tops the points table with 8 points. Rohit Bodal's Lumbini has so far won only 1 of 4 matches and sits 6th with 2 points. Lumbini now needs to win all their remaining games to reach the playoffs. With 7 consecutive wins under their belt at the start of the campaign, Liverpool secured in prime position to put up a robust Premier League title defence and go deep in the Champions League. Now they are in the midst of their worst run in 71 years after a humiliating 4-1 defeat by PSV at Anfield. 9 defeats in 12 matches for the first time since the 1953-54 season. 3 consecutive losses in all competitions by a margin of 3 goals for the first time since December 1953, and 7 goals conceded in the space of 5 days at their normally fortress-like Merseyside home. The Dutch manager is under increasing pressure as he tries to find a solution to what has fast become a serious problem. It is said if Slot cannot spark a rapid turnaround, the questions surrounding his future will only grow louder. Cold weather is sweeping across Nepal, with temperatures continuing to drop nationwide, including in Kathmandu Valley, according to Department of Meteorology and Forecasting Division. Forecasts indicate that both daytime highs and nighttime lows will keep falling through December, January, increasing the risk of cold-related hazards. The National Disaster Risk Reduction and Management Authority has begun preparations focusing on vulnerable populations in the Tarai Plains and high mountainous regions where frost and snowfall are possible. Authorities are planning public awareness campaigns and distributing warm clothing and essentials to at-risk communities. Officials emphasize that while Saharan dust and volcanic ash from abroad raised public speculation, they are not affecting local conditions. With no active weather systems, dry and cold conditions are expected to persist. Medical experts warn that the elderly and children are particularly vulnerable to extreme cold and urge caution against unsafe heating practices and alcohol consumption during winter. Now the weather details, first from across Nepal and then the world. And before wrapping up, here's a look at the top stories once again. Nepal's social security scheme turns 7, but low enrollment persists. Prime Minister Karki urges broader inclusion and investment. Nepal extends party registration deadline to November 30 ahead of March elections. President approves army deployment to boost election security. Nepal's central bank unveils a redesigned 100 rupee note highlighting updated national map. New notes enter circulation with 300 million pieces. Nepal embraces natural births as C-section rates stay low. Maternal and neonatal outcomes remain below global averages. At least 65 killed in a huge fire engulfing a high-rise public housing complex in Hong Kong. Hundreds still unaccounted for. And Pokhara Avengers defeats Janakpur Bulls by 25 runs at Nepal Premier League. Sudur Pashchim inches closer to playoffs, defeating Lumbini Lions. And that is all for the moment at NTV World News Hour. Do join us on our social media pages and also visit our official website, nepaltelevision.com, for more news and updates. I'm Sarah Sapsanamarai. Thanks for watching. Good night.